I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
United States of America
and to the republic
which
for which it stands, one nation, under God,
under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I ask the Chancellor to read aloud any public comments received via email. If a member of the public has submitted a written comment and has requested to speak, their name will be called and they will be unmuted and allowed to speak. A 2-minute time limit will be observed. Please note all email correspondence related to this meeting will become part of the board minutes.
We do have 8 public comments. So the first is submitted by Christian Galindo. I had the opportunity to join other part-time faculty at a development seminar that was held in 2019 in Newport Beach. It was surprising to see how many of us yearn at the possibility of getting a full-time faculty assignment for better pay and more job stability. These opportunities are rare, so we must settle with the part-time assignments available. During that meeting, I was able to witness how many of us live similar situations. The sacrifices that need to be made just to make ends meet are great. Many of us hold multiple jobs. I personally have 3 jobs and must work late evenings and weekends, leaving me with hardly any personal time to enjoy and relax. If I did not work so much, I could not afford to pay my mortgage and live here in Orange County. I appreciate the hard work to help us achieve parity. Second comment is from Anonymous. As a full-time faculty member, a professional who takes pride in positively impacting the lives of thousands of Saddleback College students, I can say that the cost of living is nearly too expensive for full-time faculty, let alone part-time faculty, who are paid disparately lower than full-time. For example, here are some real numbers to illustrate how salaries in our district are not commensurate with the high cost of living in this area. With a base income after a decade on the job, I would be paying over 35% of my income on my rent of a very basic 2-bedroom, 750 square foot apartment for a family of 1 adult and 2 children. Another factor in that the other 10% of my income would go toward childcare for 1 child alone. You can see that there's not much left for transportation necessities, disposable income, or the opportunity to even dream of saving to own a home in this area. This is on 1 full-time income. This is why I advocate for an increase in part-time faculty pay. If we want to attract the best full-time and part-time faculty to teach at our college and serve our students, we must compensate them enough to make it worth their while to stay in the area and or make long commutes to teach here. We rely on part-time faculty and should treat them accordingly. The next is from Lindsay LaFave. My name is Professor Lindsay LaFave. I am only worth 0.58 cents of each teacher tenure dollar at your school. At the height of the adjuncting in my career, I was once responsible for over 40 units between 5 different colleges, teaching 6 days a week, driving over 300 miles per day. 1 year, my Prius logged 24,000 miles. You should know that I made less than a full-time instructor, a contract load over an entire year. I made between 45 to 55% of my full-time counterparts at the time. It is terrifying to be an adjunct. Some of us will never have employer health care access. Some of us will be afraid to turn down work for health or personal reasons. Many of us because we can't afford it. Some of us are terrified that classes will be taken, I think, away at the last minute. And we worry about this at every campus for every class. We are all part of what makes the college work. We need equal pay for equal work. From William Etter. I'm a full-time instructor at IVC. My department offers many sections of courses students must take in order to transfer and earn degrees. Like many other departments, we could not serve all the students who need to take our courses without the work of part-time instructors. The hard work and commitment to high quality teaching by our part-time faculty ensure that large numbers of our students receive the instruction they need to successfully achieve their educational goals. We could not function effectively as an institution without part-time faculty. From Joey Sellers. Dear SOCCCD Board of Trustees, in my 19 years at Saddleback, I have never felt as positively as I do right now about our current Board of Trustees and your belief in how accomplished our students, staff, and faculty are. It is because of this that now is the proper time to act responsibly and respectfully to provide economic equity for our adjunct colleagues. Some of my colleagues have been here longer than I have, and it is unfair and quite frankly, a bit awkward that we are not compensated equally. These are some of the finest musicians, teachers, and experts in their disciplines. I am proud to work alongside them, but embarrassed by the pecuniary discrepancies. Now is the time to rectify this inequity. From Sam Abbas. I have been serving the community as a chemistry professor at Saddleback College for the last 10 years. 5 years as part-time and the last 5 as a full-time faculty who recently got tenured. I am very passionate in helping my students with their educational journey and always strive to have their Saddleback experience be a memorable one. I believe in my role of Saddleback's mission to improve lives. This is what fuels me to drive over 1 hour and 10 minutes to get to campus as I live in North County, San Diego, because the skyrocketing home prices for homes in Mission Viejo and vicinity prevent me the chance to live closer to campus. The overwhelming responsibilities, SLOs, numerous meetings, pathways, curriculum, and program reviews make it really challenging for me to keep up with the demands. And this is the case for fellow faculty members, especially part-time faculty, who make less and have minimal to no benefits. I urge you to hear us and agree to the terms of our honorable FA negotiations team on improving conditions at Saddleback and IVC. From John Terranova. My name is John Terranova. I have been a community college adjunct in Orange County for 13 years and at IVC for 11. Personally, I feel that my employer doesn't value me. The low wages, lack of job security, lack of personal workspace, and lack of benefits tells me that I am not worth the investment. It isn't just me. My employer doesn't find it worthwhile to invest in the majority of its faculty. As an employee, I feel temporary, as many of my fellow adjuncts can relate. As a temporary, worthless employee, it is difficult to invest myself into a place of employment. It's like renting a house. Why would I invest my money and time into fixing it up if I'm only going to be here for a few years? Well, a few years turned into a decade for me, and I still feel like a renter, expendable and replaceable. I understand that the whole community college system only works because it can exploit adjuncts, since suffering adjuncts make the system financially feasible. Obviously, that isn't ethical. The system should work for everyone, adjuncts included. If this district is serious about offering quality education, then it should invest in its faculty. Many adjuncts feel at home, not with words, not with tokens and gestures, but by investing in them with tangible, real-world capital, living wages, decent benefits, job security, and personal workspaces. We will feel appreciated. We will feel valued. It will bind us to the school, make us feel at home, and quicken us to lay down roots and invest ourselves back in our place of employment. Right now, I feel like an old potted plant with overgrown roots twisting around and around themselves. It isn't healthy. It isn't sustainable. Plant us adjuncts in the ground. Not only will we flourish, but we will beautify and nourish our community. And finally, Professor Carmen Hernandez Bravo. I would like to thank and support the international languages part-time faculty members. We have 11 languages and only 3 of them taught by full-time faculty members. 8 of the 11 languages are taught by part-time. They are a group of extremely dedicated professors that go beyond their duties of outstanding teaching and dedication to their students, but are active members of equity and diversity, presenters and participants of many teach-ins and cultural activities. Teach in on Islam, Ramadan Eid al-Fitr celebration, Dia de los Muertos, Latinx conference, Passover, Persian New Year, Day of Silence, Gender Conference, Latin American Film Festival, International Film Festival, just to name some of their activities, all done as volunteer activities and making 58% of what I receive as full-time with the same qualifications. I urge you to consider an equal pay for part-timers faculty members. Thank you for your consideration. And that's the last of the public comments.
And well, thank you for those heartfelt public comments. I was a part-time faculty member for many years, so I can relate, but thank you so much for those comments. And thank you for reading them, Chancellor Burke. Right now, we're going to the next item, which is oral reports, and we start with board reports. At the last trustee roll call order, I started with trustee Whit Rydell. So starting with the next one down to go. So today I'm starting with trustee Carolyn Inman.
Hey, Rep Mike Levin.
Oh, Mike Levin is here?
I believe so.
Okay, so right now we have a visit from our local Congressman, Mike Levin, that wants to talk to us about the Recovery Act. So I think we should allow him to speak while he's here, give him an opportunity to speak, and then we'll go back to the oral reports.
Hello
So
there.
thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I
Thank you for
can.
coming to our campus, Congressman Levin.
Wonderful. Well, I'm honored to be with you. I want to thank everybody there, everyone in the South Orange County Community College District Board, just for allowing me to join your meeting. And just to say a few brief words about the relief we passed in the American Rescue Plan for community colleges and for your students as well. As we know, the pandemic has just been so challenging for everybody, and that, of course, includes our institutions of higher education that have been forced to adapt under very difficult circumstances. I am honored and proud to represent several excellent colleges and universities in our district, including Saddleback, of course, and providing more relief for you and for your students has been a priority throughout this pandemic, and it'll continue to be a priority for as long as I have the honor to serve. I was really glad that your district received significant aid under the previous relief bills, accounting to about $28 million between the CARES Act and the supplemental bill we passed last December. I was heartened to hear about Lorraine Lyman and her son Danny, unable to work due to the pandemic, and with bills piling up, financial hardship was threatening their plans for graduation. But grant funding from the CARES Act allowed them not only to continue with their education and graduate from Saddleback, but I understand that they've been accepted to UC Berkeley, which is a success story indeed. And congratulations to you both for your perseverance. You know, for many schools and students, that relief from the CARES Act simply wasn't enough to meet the financial hardships they were facing as a result of the pandemic. And fortunately, we were able to pass additional relief for schools under the American Rescue Plan, including $40 billion for the Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund, which is awarded directly to institutions of higher education to help make up for lost revenue due to COVID-19. The bill requires institutions to dedicate at least half of their funding for emergency financial aid grants to students to help prevent hunger, homelessness, and other hardships facing students as a result of the pandemic. And that'll go a long way towards ensuring that your students have the financial stability they will need to complete their higher education. I'm also glad the bill included $7.1 billion to reimburse schools and libraries, central points for connectivity in so many communities, including our own, to purchase equipment such as hotspots, internet service, and computers on behalf of their students. This equipment is absolutely essential for homework when in-person classes resume, as well as for hybrid and remote learning. And I also hope that colleges and universities will indirectly benefit from the nearly $130 billion in the American Rescue Plan to help K through 12 schools to reopen quickly and safely. You know, we know that many students have not received the education they need and deserve during COVID-19. They have fallen behind where they should be. Much of the funding for K through 12 schools will be able to be used for lost learning, which will be critically important to make sure that the students are prepared to pursue a higher education. I know that many schools are eagerly awaiting these funds. My great hope is that the Department of Education will get this relief out the door as soon as possible. My understanding is that the funding for schools under the American Rescue Plan should go out in the next several weeks. So as your district and your students continue to recover from this pandemic, I hope you'll stay in touch with my office and let us know if there's anything we can do to help. Our constituent casework team is always hard at work, helping our district with any issues they have involving federal agencies. So I hope you'll use our office as a resource if you ever need assistance. I know our district director, Francine Busby, is on this Zoom with us this evening as well. I know also that our Orange County lead, Terry Van Horn, also takes great pride in serving our Orange County community. So thank you again for allowing me to participate, and I hope to see you in person soon. Take care.
Okay, thank you very much, Congressman Levin. And I want to tell you that our colleges have done an incredible job of working with students through the pandemic. That we've given food to students, we've offered classes to students, we've given them Chromebooks. We've done everything we can to keep their learning, keep their success going. And we just have done a fabulous job. So I'm so proud of everyone at the district for doing that. And thank you for the additional funding that you've worked so hard to get for us, for our district. We really, truly appreciate that.
Thank you. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful night, everybody.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, thank you. So we'll move back to our board reports now. And what I was trying to say was that I tried to keep it fair and just rotate the board report. So a different trustee starts every time and go down the list. And I do it in order of our trustee roll call order. So right now, Trustee Inman will be the first trustee, and then it will be Trustee Jay, and then Trustee Pendergast. But right now, Trustee Inman, do you have a board report today?
Yes, thank you. A very short one. I was really moved by the comments from the adjunct professors and some full-time people that also supported them. I was president of a state organization, and I think I made more speeches about the part-time teacher situation than any other single topic. And the very minimal improvements that we achieved, or, it just needs to be more somehow. So we do appreciate them. One thing that I noticed when I was reading the packet that I really liked was that in the resolutions, I guess it was, that there wasn't just one teacher of the year, but there was a full-time, a part-time, and one for emeritus. So I think that's a wonderful system, because I've been in systems where the winner was a full-time teacher, and that's okay. But those other kinds of, people on our staffs were ignored. So I'm glad we do that. But, we need to work as hard as we can, because appreciation is nice, but it doesn't pay the mortgage. So I'm really pleased with that we're looking to some things. But anyway, I also wanted to congratulate Ethan on being the student trustee. It must have been long and tedious at times, but you've been a good sport with good ideas. So I appreciate that. And that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Trustee Jay, do you have a report?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
On Tuesday, April the 20th, I attended the virtual Board of Governors meeting of the IVC Foundation. This will be Lisa Greenberg's next to last meeting as president of the board. At this time, I want to thank her for her dedication and for her many great contributions she has made to the college. She has done a fantastic job as president of the board for the past 2 years. Aaron Pollard and Nancy Montgomery gave a college presentation on the value of the emergency grants during COVID. They talked about the financial insecurity, food insecurity, and mental health of the students. IVC did a student survey on basic needs, and it was sent to every student, and they received 2,051 responses. The highest rates of food insecurity, housing insecurity, and homelessness were experienced by foster youth, African Americans, veterans, DSPS, and EOPS students. This 2021 IV survey found that 67% of the students were depressed or were suffering from anxiety. IVC has developed a virtual new student rescue page on the computer. The topics are technology support, loan of laptops and hotspots, tutoring, financial assistance, grocery gift cards, medical assistance, medical health assistance, free legal consultations, and library resources. IVC's student head count was down 10% last year. Some of the colleges were down 30%. Why? College is a non-essential expense. Financial burdens continue after COVID has ended. Virtual education, COVID financial support equal extra support needed to ensure student success. IVC is working extremely hard to help its students. Thank you.
Thank you. And Trustee Prendergast, do you have a report today?
Yeah, first I would like to congratulate the recipients of the awards that we're going to be recognizing in the consent calendar, especially as was mentioned before, Student Trustee Montefiore. Really appreciate your contributions this entire year. You've been very active and involved, and we do appreciate that. I also wanted to take a moment of personal privilege to in some way congratulate Trustee Jamal for his efforts in bringing to the forefront the issues with the Armenian genocide and the actions that Turkey has been taking recently, and having the President of the United States recognize that officially must be a very proud moment for him and his family and the community at large. And I just wanted to special note that has been a hard fought battle for you and others, and I hope that is well received, as I'm sure it is. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Good comments. Trustee Wright, do you have a board report?
Yes, I do. This month, students from both IVC, Irvine Valley College, and Saddleback College were named 2021 HIDUS Scholar. It was Preston Hong of Saddleback College and Yosama Nasam of Irvine Valley College. The honors come with a $7,500 scholarship, and student Hong and Nasam are the only students in the entire state of California to have received the national award. Equally impressive are that both students are from the South Orange County Community College District. And my last comment is, last week, April the 21st, I was in Mission Hospital and had a dual chamber pacemaker implant.
Oh.
I'm trying to recover from that.
Oh, well, good. Stay safe, stay healthy, okay? We need you. Thank you. Okay, Trustee Jamal.
Okay, Jim, it's good to see you here. I'm glad to see that you appear to be doing well. Student Trustee Montefiore, you've been awesome. You're going to be missed. I appreciated all the comments from the part-time faculty. Believe it or not, I once was an adjunct. I taught at the American University of Armenia for a couple of years, and I appreciate all that you do, and I think the board does as well. Trustee Prendergast, I appreciate your comments. Thank you for noting the President's remarks on Saturday, April 24th, to commemorate the Armenian genocide once and for all after 106 years. It's interesting, I've spent a lot of my professional life working on trying to get the genocide recognized, not just here in the US, but across the world. I spent many years in Washington, DC on the issue. And it always struck me that how it could be controversial to call a genocide what it is, a genocide. Our country, unfortunately, the US has been held hostage to, I think, misguided policies and blackmail from countries like Turkey who've threatened to close US bases, to do all sorts of things that threaten our national security interests. But what threatens us the most is doing things that are against our values. And it is not congruent with our values to placate gangster regimes that commit atrocities, that kill innocent civilians. And, you know, you said congratulations. It's hard to say I felt, you know, happy, I guess. I felt like finally, 8 of my grandmother's brothers and sisters were murdered in Turkey between 1915 and 1923. The passenger manifest from Constantinople on 1923, which I have, indicates only she, her sister, and her mother were on that vessel. 8 of her other brothers and sisters were murdered. And one of the things about genocide recognition is that, of course, you want to honor the victims and those who were killed by these atrocities perpetrated by the Ottoman Turkish Empire, but that we prevent such occurrences from happening again. And that's where we failed. It's not just, of course, I am Armenian, it's very personal to me, but we looked at what happened 6 months ago where with impunity, Turkey and Azerbaijan, its satellite country, conducted atrocities again on Armenian lands. And we stood by, we, collectively, the world, did very little, in fact, nothing. And they got away with it. And so Joe Biden is a good man for doing this. He's been consistent on this issue for decades, but it's my hope this changes our policy and outlook, our foreign policy, our defense policy, to make some changes so that we are consistent with our values. And it makes me believe, and I know I've gone on over 2 minutes, that, you know, the challenges that we face here in the district, they're all solvable. They're solvable. I mean, you know, I take a look at what happened to 20-year-old Armenian men 6 months ago that were just starting at the American University of Armenia. Several students at the American University of Armenia fought in the war, and they were killed by Turkey, by drones manufactured, many of which came from Israel and Turkey and other countries. And so they're cut down in their prime. And I look at you, Ethan, you got a great future ahead of you. I think we can solve all the challenges we have with the faculty, with the part-time faculty. Let's keep it in perspective and let's move ahead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Trustee Whit Rydell, do you have a board report?
Yes. Let me just say, first of all, that I attended about 6 Zoom meetings and webinars. They were excellent. The majority of them have to do with equity, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I found the best one that I enjoyed happened to be from the California Community College, from the Chancellor's office recently. And I just want to share real quick what a student imagined would be if he could pick the best campus. And he said that he felt there should be more mental health opportunities for the students. He felt that the colleges or the campus needed a basic need coordinator, meaning to help the students where to go, what to do next. And he said professors that are approachable and that want them to succeed. He wanted to reduce textbook costs and, I didn't quite understand, but he wanted to have prudent partners with Amazon. At any rate, all of these, I would say, we have already at Saddleback, but can we do more? Yes, we can, and yes, we will. I also wanted to say that I liked what I heard from Orange County Business Council. I've turned into a follower of theirs, and I still hope that by July 4th, as they stated, will be the targeted for a COVID-free life, and I'm looking forward to that. I also wanted to say that I appreciate what Trustee Jamal had to say. let us all take heed to what has gone on with this country, with the Armenian people. And I want never to forget, we forgive, but we never forget the atrocities that happen everywhere. I also attended the undocumented, undocumented training. And it had, what was the title? The Students Equity Program and Coalition for Human Immigrants' Rights. I'm an immigrant. I know I don't speak, or maybe people know that, but I came to America when I was young with my parents. And my mother had incredible atrocities. And we came here to a free country. And I want to share with you, the most important thing in their lives were that their kids would get an education. And I want to continue that education to others, to our students, to make it the best we can for our students. Yes, I want to be cognizant of adjunct faculty. My goodness, I started out for 3 years as an adjunct faculty, and it wasn't always pleasant. Oh, I could tell you 2 stories, but I won't. But at any rate, I'm very cognizant of all that. And I hope that I know that all of our trustees are the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Witt. And now, did I cover all the trustees? I think I did. So I'll do my report. I want to thank everyone for their comments and all our board members for their board reports. I want to note that I attended Carmen Mara's International Film Festival last week, and that was a Chilean film. And I want to thank student trustee Manafee for his excellent contributions as student trustee this year. Just wonderful. And also to congratulate the 2 teachers of the year, which I recognize tonight. We had a meeting where we discussed the redesign of our district website, and I suggested adding a Canvas link on the district website. Matt Brodette filmed my presidential greeting, and Matt and the Saddleback College Film Department do like an incredible job for our college. At the Saddleback College virtual plant sale, I spent $300 and got a gazillion gorgeous plants. And in this sale, 100% of the money raised goes to the student scholarship. So I can't wait to pick the plants up. On tonight's agenda, I adored seeing Trustee Jay's photo at our IVC's gala in Chancellor Burke's report, and Trustee Whit Rydell's photo administering COVID-19 vaccines to our employees in President Stern's report, and learning about Professor Alvarez's newest anthology of poems in President Hernandez's report. So all the reports were great. The Saddleback student performance of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Were Dead was delightful and funny. Dean Scott Farthing explained how they accomplished this. The student actors all filmed the productions from the comfort and safety of their own homes. They were given lighting kits, green screens, webcams, props, and costumes. All students, faculty, and staff were completely virtual during the entire process. The staff mixes the students' videos into a final seamless product. During the pandemic, the same system has been used by national TV networks. Dean Farthing and I are terrifically proud of our team for pulling this off. So check out the Saddleback College Arts website for this and other productions, and you won't be sorry. I'm looking forward to upcoming celebrations, the IVC Drive commencement, and the IVC scholarship ceremony, and the tenured faculty recognition, and the Saddleback's commencement in the upcoming month. Thank you. And now we go on to our retiring student trustee Ethan Manafee. Manafee, do you have a report today?
Yes, hi. So
hi, how are you doing?
Good. I'm going to say a few words so I wouldn't take more time in item 5.2.
Okay.
So this is my last meeting, and I was very humbled when I was offered the position in summer, and it's just been a great experience, seeing how much work goes through just the smallest things on campus, and how much this group and the administration of both colleges care about their students. And I want to thank Chancellor Burke and her amazing staff. I want to thank President Milchker and all the trustees. Just witnessing and being part of this effort and what goes through making this district one of the best districts in California, if not the best, was a wonderful experience. And I genuinely mean that. It was an honor sitting on this board with every one of you, even though it was virtual. I want to thank Dr. Stern and Dr. Hernandez. Every time I reached out to either of them, they were very responsive, very kind to me, and I was always inspired by their leadership, especially in retiring the Gaucho in equity and inclusion efforts and in the 2020 election civic engagement events. I think those three things were things I mostly focus on and work towards, and I'm very proud of their outcome. So yeah, I learned a lot here, and I definitely learned a lot than I could imagine and I was expecting, and it opened a lot of opportunities to me. Sorry, my voice is breaking. All the reports before me were so emotional, and I had a little like tear in my eye. So yeah, I'm a pre-med student, and so far I've been accepted to UC Berkeley, UCI, and Cal State Long Beach, and I'm waiting for letters from UCLA, UCSC, and some Ivy League schools that I applied to. So wherever I end up, I will always cherish this experience, and I'm very grateful for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You've been great. And I'm waiting till you become a plastic surgeon so I could use your I could come to you. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. We've really enjoyed you being a student trustee this year. Thank you so much. And now the student government reports. First, the Saddleback ASG president, Adam Brownell. How are you feeling, Adam? Okay.
Hi. I'm feeling great.
Good,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm going to save my reports for item 4.2, our budget presentation. So to not be redundant.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And now this IBC ASG president, Brianna Ross. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So first, I just want to thank Ethan for his service as the student trustee. And it's, I haven't got to work with him so much this year because he's just been so such a busy bee, but I did get to work with him very closely when he was first a senator in ASIVC. And so just as kind of an onlooking perspective, I'm so proud to see how he's grown as a leader and how he's been representing the students. And I'm excited to see where he goes. So thank you, Ethan, for your service to us. And some things on the ASIVC end. So we just passed an anti-racism pledge. So this is a pledge that all ASIVC student leaders will take. And we're hoping to put on the website so that when students see the ASIVC webpage, that's the first thing they'll see. And they'll see what we stand for and what we represent. And to accompany that, just so we're not talking about equity, but we're also walking with equity, we're going to be working to pass a DEI training resolution for ASIVC student leaders that will include cultural sensitivity and implicit bias training so that student leaders can be prepared to represent students that they may not represent with their background or their upbringing, but they'll be able to represent them and be a listening voice to them. Next, we have actually a lot of resolutions that I'll be talking about. So the first one is going to be an early care resolution for students and faculty alike to try to see if we could get a child care development center going again at IVC. So we'll be passing that this week in our meeting. The next one is actually a native plants resolution to ensure that Irvine Valley College is going to use native plants and see how they can reduce the water intake with the plants and landscape on our campus. And the last resolution is something that our student equity director, Erin Pollard, introduced to us, which is a pronouns resolution that will allow students to use the preferred pronouns and put them on my site and change them so that they'll appear on attendance sheets and come up for scheduled appointments like counseling. So that's it for our resolutions. And I just want to also recognize how the month of April has a lot of different festivities and a lot of different things that the month is recognizing. The first is DEI Awareness Month. Next is obviously Sexual Assault Awareness Month, which IVC has done an excellent job to support and cater to, providing information for students. It's also Arab American Heritage Month. So, thank you for all of our Arab American students and faculty, and we recognize your heritage this month. It's also Community College Month as well. So I know all of our students and on the ASIVC end, we've been celebrating that. And last but not least, I'm getting my second Pfizer shot tomorrow. So wish me luck.
Yay.
That's all from me.
Hey, me as well, Brianna. How did you get yours so fast? I even got a message from what's it, the county one? Who does that?
FANA.
Yeah,
see ya.
I'm still, according to them, I'm still not eligible. So I had to go find other ways.
Yeah, with my other organization I work with, they technically put me in education. So I got the notification. And also in Northern California, it functions a little bit differently in this county.
Excellent. Excellent.
Apparently everyone is eligible. You can go on CBS website or like other pharmacies, and you can probably find appointments
Really?
pretty easily.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good for helping you, Sally, get the jab, right? Thank you. And thank you, Brianna. You're doing a lot of excellent things. So really appreciate it. Thank you. And next, the Irvine Valley College Academic Senate President, Professor June McLaughlin. Is she here?
No, June let me know that she has no report tonight.
Okay. And then the Saddleback College Academic Senate President, Blake Stevens. Is he here?
Blake is not here, no.
Okay. And then the Faculty Association President, Professor Lewis Long. And I see him here. There he is.
Here.
Hi.
Thank you. The main issue, of course, that's facing the Faculty Association right now is the measured and safe return to on-campus instruction, which we are attempting to work through in a way that will both serve our students' success, but also protect the health of our students, faculty, and staff. And the other main issue that we're facing is obviously negotiations. And tonight you've heard from, once again, several of our part-time and full-time faculty members talking about the plight faced by our part-time faculty members. And if you look behind me, there's actually a picture of an article that has appeared in the CCA Advocate and also appeared in CTA's journal about the part-time faculty members' situation. In that article, one of our own faculty members, Nusheen Sadigzadeh, was featured as a representative of what part-time faculty members go through. And in the article, she mentions that she's been teaching for 12 years. She teaches math. She teaches at 5 campuses regularly. And one would think that with that level of experience and that amount of teaching load, with teaching at 5 campuses, one would be doing pretty well. But she actually has, in order to make ends meet, she also drives for Amazon food delivery. Professor Sadigzadeh spends her time driving for Amazon food delivery and has had to give up her apartment and rent a room in a house where she lives with her children. This is simply an unacceptable way to teach professional educators. It's not only that, it also turns out to be, if you think about it, an issue of equity. And equity has been a big issue now, drawing a lot of attention throughout the state. And we talk a lot about equity for our students, but we also need to pay attention to equity for our faculty, because part-time faculty members are a much more diverse group than full-time faculty members. Diverse racially, diverse in gender identification, diverse in gender. If they are being paid only 58% of what full-time faculty members are paid for the same work, that becomes a serious issue of equity and a significant concern. And we in this district are in a unique position to do something about that circumstance and lead the way for other districts, although unfortunately we're desperately far behind now in helping make up this problem. So I thank Trustee Inman and Trustee Jamal for their comments earlier, and I hope to see those comments reflected in the actions of the board on the contract in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Long, for your comments. Thank you. And the next, Irvine Valley College Classified Senate President, Amy Hunter.
Good evening. So in the month of April, our Classified Senate continues our heartfelt work in caring campus work. As you know, we've been part of a national cohort funded by the Ascendium Education Group. This initiative is designed to improve student connectedness to the college by engaging our professional staff in implementing behaviors demonstrated to improve student outcomes. We've been doing this work since October 2019, where we participate in coaching sessions, implemented several of our behavioral commitments around how we interact and engage with students. We've participated in campus care events and have participated in state and national speaking opportunities to promote our work. All the while, we have been working remotely. I'm extremely proud of our classified for their commitment to our students and our college. So as we're wrapping this up, this month, we have participated in a study conducted by the Community College Research Center, CCRC, at Teachers College, Columbia University. The study throughout this month includes surveys to the staff and students, individual interviews with college leadership, focus groups with our staff and students, And the results of our study will help provide us guidance in our future work, as well as the development of this initiative with Institute for Evidence-Based Change. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to get the results of that study. Sounds fascinating. And I think the Caring Campus program is wonderful. The students really feel at home when everyone greets them and makes them feel welcome and do things that you are studying that is really helpful to help our students succeed. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next is Saddleback College Classified Senate President Darren England.
He is not in attendance.
Okay, and then California School Employees Association, Scott Ferguson Green.
Scott let me know that he has no report.
Okay, and then the Police Officers Association President Bo Arbuthnot.
He is not in attendance.
Okay, maybe I should go through this with you before, so I know I won't call their names then. Okay, if we know prior to this that they're not coming. Thank you. And at this time, we're going into presentations. Yeah, the first one is 4.2, the presentation about the IVC and the Saddleback College student government budgets. And what we'll do is we'll move the board agenda item, which is agenda item 6.1, directly after this, and we'll vote on the that item after this after the presentation from both student governments are given. So first, I believe we have the Saddleback College students will be speaking on their budgets. Saddleback College, Adam Brownell, ASG President, Nick Lucas, ASG Budget and Finance, and Thomas Allard, ASG Vice President, will be speaking about the Saddleback College budget. So please go ahead.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
So first and foremost, thank you everyone for this opportunity. My name is Adam Brownell. I'm the president of ASG. And with me is Nick Lucas, our Director of Budget. And tonight we're going to be presenting our ASG 2021-2022 tentative budget. Next slide, please. Okay. Okay, so before proceeding to the budget, I'd like to highlight a few items to kind of put everything into context. So we like to be conservative with our tentative budget. So largely due to unused funds from the past fiscal year, we're expecting to have about 300,000 in our beginning balance. We're projecting about 150,000 from ASG activity fees, which are essentially our stamp sales. And we're happy that we hit this mark, but we want to make sure students are getting the most benefit possible. So we're in the works of creating an app that houses agendas, events, book stamps, etc. And by going digital, we're hoping this will increase stamp sales as well as make the benefits more accessible. In terms of contracted revenue, which is based on our bookstore contract, ASG receives 40.72% of contracted service revenue. It's historically encompassed food services, but because of COVID and how the year unfolded, we don't anticipate receiving any revenue this year from food services or vending. We've traditionally been committed to scholarship, and this year is no different. So after we take out our emergency reserves, we're donating at least 20% of our remaining funds towards soliciting matching funds for scholarships. More specifically, the three areas our money goes towards are Child Development Center, the Foundation General Scholarships, and the Financial Aid Book Scholarship. And lastly, the emergency reserve represents 7% of our budget. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Adam. Hello, everyone. So before we talk about our tentative budget, I'd like to remind everyone about the budget we presented back in fall last year with me and Adam. On the left-hand column, you'll notice that this was the adopted budget we presented. The beginning balance compared to this fiscal year has been reduced greatly, and that is because we mentioned last time that our bookstore contracts have been renegotiated and reduced. And we also discovered after presenting last year that we anticipated, the contracts we received were much less than anticipated. So currently this year we have 69,000 at the moment, but we anticipate to receive around 100,000. For cafeteria food services, these are at zero. And like Adam mentioned, we haven't received sources of revenue from these areas. And as well, we haven't had no food services this year. And we are kind of unsure of what direction we'd like to go. But we're happy to say that our stamp sales have been performing relatively well. We're at around 159,000 in stamp sales. And we're happy to say that our program has been performing quite well this year. When you look at our uses of funds, you notice that our actual numbers are a little lower compared to the adopted budget. Obviously, this is because of the pandemic, and there are many groups that had to make some changes and had to postpone events, such as the American Dance Association team, the speech and debate team, and student nursing events. And there are also many other events that just didn't decide to go virtually this year. Scholarship section as well has been reduced slightly, and that's because, like we mentioned, our budget adjusts to our contracts. And since our contracts have been reduced a bit, our scholarships reflects this. But we want to assure you that we have been utilizing our scholarships to the best of our capacity. We're investing towards two-year scholarships and other related fields. So with that being said, let's talk about the tentative budget. We're looking at around 300,000 for our beginning balance, bookstore contract 100,000, and activity fees for 150,000, like Adam mentioned. And with our contract in fees, we decided to keep these numbers as is because compared to our last year's performance, this was our sweet spot, and we feel comfortable keeping it as is. For uses of funds, this tends to fluctuate every year. And as you know, divisions are required to submit forms to my committee, my budget committee. And I'm happy to say that my members have been working hard and tirelessly processing and interviewing all of these requests. And I'm pretty proud of what we have done, and we have adjusted accordingly. And like we said, we're emphasizing all our support towards scholarships and programs for next year. Something you'll notice for ASG operations, this went up quite a bit. We're emphasizing on giveaways and other items, and as well as improving our mailing system. And for ASG operations personnel, this also increased as well. This covers our student workers who are in the office, as well as our campus life squad, and also our 29 hours a week permanent staff members who are slowly coming back to campus. With that being said, that is our tentative budget, and I'd like to pass it back to Adam. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Nick. Okay, so we're very excited to say that we accomplished a substantial amount, even though this was quite an odd year for us. We still had an amazing team of student leaders, and we all came together, and we formed a wonderful student government. We still provided campus life, advocacy, and ensured clubs were still active and had the help they deserved. So just to highlight a few, in terms of non-academic barriers, we were still able to work with our EOPS program to help students and families out during the holidays. We worked with 24 donors to assist 21 families and 46 children with food cards and gifts. We implemented the OCTA bus pass program, and the first year was covered through the low carbon transportation grant. And regarding advocacy and civic engagement, as we all know, this was an important year for civic engagement, but we registered over 613 students to vote, and we finished 9th out of 56 participating California community colleges in the ballot bowl and passed a resolution in support of retiring the gaucho. In terms of community building, we held over 20 events. We fully funded the Mars Rover project and helped them still do the project, albeit at a social distance. We also started a book club that we're hoping to keep going next year, where we have 13 students reading Abraham Kenley's book, How to Be an Anti-Racist, and they're coming together and having meaningful, mindful discussion. We had a violin masterclass, student film contests, alumni panels, Chinese New Year, and more. So we're excited to say that we were still able to be active regardless of if we were on campus or not. So thank you, everyone. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions? I think it was really an excellent budget. Considering that you had no cafeteria revenue, no revenue for the vending machines because everything was taken out of the vending machines due to the pandemic. You've really done well. I was just going to ask, I really appreciate the scholarships you give as well and how you help the students. The Child Development Center scholarships, are these for people that can't afford to send, like either, I know staff and the community and students can put their children in the Child Development Center. So are these for people that are low income and can't afford to pay for their children in the Child Development Center and their scholarships to cover this? Is that what they're for?
I can answer that, Adam. Yes, this helps to subsidize monthly for students with low income.
Okay, excellent. It's really important so that the parents can go to school while their children are in a very excellent preschool. My kids were in the preschool at Saddleback College before I was on the board, so I know how good it is. So it's really good preschool. So thank you so much for the wonderful presentation and for all you do for our students. I'm just really have helped our students feel like they're part of a community during this pandemic year when everybody's isolated, and it's so important. So you really did a fabulous job. So thank you so much. Okay, and next, Irvine Valley College, Brianna Ross, and is this?
Yeah, we're all here.
Okay, you're all here. Okay, thank you.
All right, I'll go ahead and start. Well, I think most of you already know me, but if not, my name is Brianna Ross, and I am the ASIVC president. And here with me today is my vice president of budget and finance, Farnoosh, as well as the upcoming ASIVC president, D'Angelo, who has been very active this year. So it's no wonder he'll be our president. Next slide. So to go over just some of our budget highlights for the upcoming year. So we have $775,000 for budgeted as the total. And with that, we've projected $420 for our beginning balance. And we've also projected $110,000 in ASIVC access sales. And we are projecting $225,000 for bookstore revenue. Next slide, please. So evidently, we do have a fairly large beginning balance, and obviously that's due to a lot of money we were able to reserve just because there was a lot of canceled events due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And as a result, any revenue reductions don't necessarily hurt us. For example, at the bookstore, so we don't necessarily get more revenue. However, any loss is mitigated by the reduction of costs just from overall co-curricular and instructional travel expenses. And programming due to COVID-19. So for example, our geography club usually would go to a conference, and last year, right before the closure, they had to cancel. So any sort of travel expenses for clubs and co-curriculars that are pushed into that category no longer had to use the funds. So therefore we didn't spend any. And just as a side note, because of some of this loss, there's going to be the 10% of the required budget will be adjusted into our contingency fund for emergency purposes. And then that will get more explained when Farnoosh will go on to her part of the presentation. But I'll finish off with our cafeteria. So that projection is based on the progressive return to campus and potential vending. So we're assuming that we won't enter into any major cafeteria contract in the upcoming year. So this is just what we're anticipating. Next is ASIVC access sales. As I mentioned, they will be remaining fairly strong. We actually had a really good outcome this year despite having the closure and being in a virtual environment. And that's why we're projecting the $110,000. And so now I'll pass it on to the Vice President of Budget and Finance, Farnoosh, to talk about the uses of funds.
Thank you so much, Brianna. Hi, everyone. My name is Farnoosh Nasseri, and I'm the ASIVC Vice President of Budget and Finance. Starting with ASIVC events and programs, we kept it at the same level given our expansion of student engagement. For student life non-discretionary, we increased it by $29,889, given that we have entered the OCTA contract for the next 3 years, and that is also funded by ASIVC. The OCTA contract is approximately $121,000 per year, and which is funded by ASIVC. For club support program, for club program support, there's no change since we didn't spend more than we alluded. We have over 39 active clubs who have done an exceptional job, so we want to continue supporting them. The instructional departments, which include co-curricular programs and is driven by the bookstore revenue, as Brianna explained, had a reduction of $212,500 based on limitation of associated costs. For student services and scholarships, we increased the amount by $6,500 to support programs such as DSPS, international students, career services, and much more. Finally, for the contingency fund, it matches the 10% required amount, and some adjustments will be made for the adopted budget. Now our 2021-22 ASIVC President, D'Angelo Hunter, will go over the ASIVC accomplishments.
Awesome. Thank you, Farnoosh. As mentioned, my name is D'Angelo Hunter. I'm the president-elect for next term, and I'm glad to be here meeting you all today. Kicking it off, virtual student engagement. We're super proud of our virtual student engagement. There's been 39 active clubs during this online transition, and still very many events that went on. I participated in many, such as movie nights with the film club, an art gallery with PTK, and professional development workshops through College Leap, which is a chapter of a certain program. So although we weren't able to meet in person, we still had a lot of events that went on to foster and build upon our community. And I'm super proud of that, especially with the circumstances given. For ASIVC Student Senate, we've been busy this year taking steps to increasing student equity. This includes being involved with DEI works active on campus, advocacy through student government, and implementing what it looks like from the student side with IVC leadership. This involved becoming more engaged with shared governments than ASIVC has ever been. And we give credit to that through an improving shared governance process that I hope to build upon during my term. But probably the biggest highlight from our side is that we did take legislative action to enter the OCTA contract. We're actually funding it from ASIVC, as mentioned. So students will not see an increase in their ASIVC access or any other fee from the contract, but they'll all be able to benefit from it. For student leadership and development, IVC has maintained an overwhelming representation in various local and statewide affiliations, including the Student Senate for California Community Colleges. Throughout the year, 4 ASIVC members were elected to regional and statewide positions in the SSCCC. So congratulations to them. Cough, cough, Brianna's here. With that, I just want to say congratulations to them and for being so involved and representing IVC in such a positive light. With that, I just want to thank you for your time, and we're open to any questions that you may have about our budget or anything else part of this presentation.
Are there any questions? I know I have a question. I know that Saddleback College Student Government was the one that initially created the contract with OCTA to give all of our students free bus passes. And I want to congratulate you for and I love seeing it on all the buses that go by, free buses for Saddleback College students. I think that's really good marketing. It's good marketing because it's right on the buses, so it goes right to the target audience. So, so you actually were able to get into that agreement also with OCTA. I didn't realize there was a cost to that. So you actually have to pay for that that agreement with OCTA.
Yeah, I can kind of chime in for that one. So throughout, I think it's been a couple years now where we've consistently had back and forth meetings with the OCTA representatives. And just because of the amount of bus stops and a lot of the entry points for the buses around IVC, they were going to make students pay a fee for registration that was much larger than Saddleback students would get just because of the proximity to all the bus stops at IVC. And it was around $5-ish, and we really didn't want students to pay a dime for it. So we were able to actually, when we set aside money in our previous year spring budget, since we didn't enter the contract that year, and since the first year we enter is going to be subsidized, we were able to actually add more to that budget category. So we'll be able to fully fund the program from the ASIVC side.
Okay, great. So all the students at both colleges get free bus passes, which is fabulous. They can come to school for free. Wonderful. And keep all those extra cars off the roads and help the environment as well. So it's kind of a win-win.
Yes, exactly.
And I just wondered, you said that, I read that 4 students actually joined the Student Senate of the California Community Colleges. That's pretty unprecedented, isn't it? Because I don't remember any students in both of our colleges becoming members of the statewide Student Senate. So do you know how many people are on the statewide Student Senate in general?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm actually one of the executives. I'm the vice president of communications, and what D'Angelo alluded to at the end of the presentation is I actually got it reelected, but for a different executive position. So I'll still be there. But so basically there's 10 regions, and each of the 115 and soon to be 116 colleges, they each send a delegate. So our first representative to count towards the 4 would be Alexis Nguyen, who is our delegate for Irvine Valley College. She's also the vice president of external affairs for ASIVC. Tristan Vu, who is my executive vice president, he is the vice chair for the regional structure, which is it's an executive board of about 5 members. And one of our newest senators, his name is Franz Kvyat. He's actually going to be the executive vice president for D'Angelo in the upcoming year, and he's the communications officer. So since I'm the vice president of communications, I actually hold a monthly meeting, and one of the representatives that's in my meeting is Franz, the comms officer. So that's the 4 of us that are extremely involved everywhere.
Wow, thank you. You're a wealth of information, also so very involved in the statewide organization. I need to talk to you about that sometime. Sounds fascinating.
Oh yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, I'd love to too. Thank you so much. Okay, are there any other questions or comments? Oh yeah, there too. So Ethan has his hand, the student trustee Manafee.
Yes, so I just wanted to thank Adam, Nick, D'Angelo, Farnoosh, and Bree, and that was a great presentation, and we're very grateful for everything you do for our students. To answer Trustee Mishika's question, I think like one of the reasons that our students are getting so involved in the statewide is actually how involved both presidents are. And when I talk to Bree, she's always talking about the statewide, and I think that kind of like encourage other students to get on that too. So it's just like a collective effort of students being involved in this.
Yeah, thank you. Good comment. And Trustee Jamal, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I just have one comment, and I think I have to believe it's shared by almost everyone on this Zoom. I spoke about rogue regimes and lots of bad things that are happening because there's lack of accountability. But I see the students that are presenting today, your involvement in legislative action, DEI initiatives, helping students raise money for scholarships. And I'm just really hopeful. You guys are, I shouldn't even say you guys, you all are very impressive. I'm very hopeful. I'm very proud of you. So we have a really a great future ahead of us in this country and whatever you guys do. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I echo Trustee Manafee's and Trustee Jamal's comments. And also with ASIVC, you put on 39 club events to keep our students involved this year. When they were all at home, and this kept them involved, engaged. Human contact is so important to us humans, and this kept the students engaged in school, I think. And, all this stuff helps the students stay in school and helps them succeed. So thank you all very, very much. So we really appreciate it. So thanks. Okay. Any other questions or comments? So thank you again.
I want to thank him for the wonderful report. That was wonderful.
Can they not hear us?
We're fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, raising money for scholarships for the students and ensures the students getting involved, student clubs, doing diversity, equity, inclusion work. Just really, really very, very far reaching and very, very important for our students in our colleges. It's very important. So stay involved. We appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much.
Trustee Whit-Rydell.
Oh, Trustee Whit-Rydell, is your hand up? Sorry.
I can reiterate all that has been said, and especially what Trustee Jamal has said. But what amazes me, absolutely amazes me, leaders of ASG, is that you did it during this COVID experience. You did not have in-person, and in-person always invites more people, but you did it through Zoom webinars. And it just amazes me that you had so many programs going on, so many events, so many new memberships. I have to say my hat's off to you, and you are amazing. You're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you, students. That's great. Thanks very much. Any other comments? Okay, good luck in the upcoming year. Okay, right now we're moving to item 6.1, which is Saddleback College and Irvine Valley College student tentative budgets. And we're voting to approve their budgets. And the budgets were established to provide funding for co-curricular programs, scholarships, student initiatives, and student activities, including student clubs. So that's item 6.1. So is there a motion to approve this?
I move the motion.
Okay, trustee Wright makes the motion, and trustee Whit-Riddell seconds. So will the Madam Secretary please call the roll?
Trustee Inman.
Aye.
Trustee Jay.
Aye.
Trustee Jamal.
Aye.
Trustee Milchiker.
Aye.
Trustee Prendergast.
Aye.
Trustee Rydell.
Aye.
Trustee Wright.
Aye.
Student trustee Montefiore.
Aye.
Okay, the next item is item 4.3, which is our foundation's annual report. So Alyssa Aramsky, Executive Director of IBC Foundation, and Elizabeth McCann, the Executive Director of the Saddleback College Foundation, will provide a financial summary of their accomplishments this year. So go ahead if you'd like.
Here she is.
There I am. Sorry,
There you are.
took a minute to rejoin.
Okay.
Good evening, and thank you for having us. On behalf of Liz and I, we look forward to updating you on the year that we've had. And needless to say, it's been an interesting one. So, as you heard, my name is Alyssa Oransky, and I have the honor of serving as the Executive Director of the IBC Foundation. And actually, believe it or not, I'm coming up on my 6-year anniversary at IBC and 8 with the district. Still kind of surprises me that it's been that long. So the 2019-2020 year was one of challenges, but we also managed to accomplish some impressive feats. And I look forward to sharing our highs and lows, and we'll even give you a sneak peek into next year's presentation. Next slide, please. Next one. So the first slide shows our income broken down into 3 sections: what we raised, our revenue, which is other money raised in the district support, which comes in the forms of salaries and benefits. Next slide. Ooh, that's tiny. The slide 2 shows our financial presentation, position. And while I'm happy to walk you through the slide, it is fairly self-explanatory. And I know that you have a copy. And a lot of the numbers that are showing here, you are going to see on upcoming slides. So as opposed to repeating myself by walking through this, I'm going to move on to the next slide. So during the 2019-2020 year, our net assets increased more than 11%. But what I find truly interesting about this slide is that over the past year, our net assets increased more than 55%. So in 5 years, we grew more than 55%, which is a clear sign that we are moving in the right direction. Next slide, please. Every year, we look closely at the dollars raised. After all, that is our main function, to raise money for the students and programs of IVC. Last year, if you recall, our theme was reestablishing the baseline. So we had to do this because of what we had been counting as gifts and what we should be counting as gifts. So we only have a 2-year comparison for this number. As you can see, the number went down. And while we had some small losses, my team actually identified where our main revenue shortfalls were. So if you could go to the next slide, please. The first one is kind of obvious, but our 2020 Foundation Awards dinner was scheduled for March 14th, and we wound up canceling it on March 12th. The good news was that we had already launched our silent auction. We had a lot of sponsorships in and ticket purchases, and many people allowed us and encouraged us to keep the funds. However, some did ask for refunds, and we did not get to have the revenue enhancers at the event that would have brought that number up quite a bit, which included the Fund a Scholar, our live auction, and our wine pull, just to name a few. So we estimate that that was a $50,000 loss, just looking at the numbers and what we did annually. We also lost a $30,000 gift from our anonymous donor. For many, many, many years, we have had someone who has generously contributed to our music program, anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000. And that, for a number of reasons, from what I understand, that donor decided not to continue giving last year. We also did not hold Astounding Inventions last year. And while we were able to hold on to our sponsors, some of our other longtime supporters did not choose to reallocate their sponsorships. So that was $15,000. Due to the pandemic, Follett they essentially paid us late. So this year we're going to show a $20,000 total gift from Follett, whereas last year was $0. So they typically pay us in April or May, and this year we got the check in October or November. So that was kind of a move forward. So altogether, this really shows where our major losses were. I can tell you that things are looking better for this year. So hopefully when I come back, you'll see better numbers on that chart next year. So next slide. So this is our scholarships and what we awarded. And while we raise money to support programs and clubs, one of our biggest sources of support comes in through scholarships. This year, we paid out $448,831 in scholarships. This number was lower than the year before, but this was partially due because we awarded one large group of scholarships later than usual, so it wound up in this year. So again, you'll see a rebalancing in those numbers next year. Next slide, please. I will tell you that the endowment slide is always one of my favorite to share. The entire time I've worked at the district, endowments have been one of my priorities. I worked on them when I was at Saddleback, and it's been a focus at IVC as well. And when we are able to show the slide, you will see that our work is paying off and our endowment is growing. And the main reason that I really love endowments is because it provides income in perpetuity. It's the best way to make a permanent impact on the programs and services, on our students, on the college, and on the future of our district in general. So you'll see that you'll see the growth and where we have come from and where we're going to. And what you won't see is that the number has continued to go up. I know part of it is that the market is doing really well. At our last finance committee meeting, our investment advisor told us that we averaged over 8% last year, which was great. So we have definitely seen some growth due to the increase in the interest that we've earned, but also we are seeing an increase due to a number of new endowments and also growth of existing endowments. Should I keep going?
While we're waiting, why don't we ask you a question?
Go ahead, I'm ready.
So the net assets, I think that's nonprofit speak for reserves. What, correct? I mean, your net assets are what you have, your cash that's available, correct?
Sure.
How are you managing those funds? Are they in CDs? Are they in stocks? Are they just being held in cash?
So they are with our investment advisor, and he has a varied portfolio for us, and he's been doing a fantastic job. So we can share that with you. It is obviously public record. I can see that now, yes. Okay, so on this slide is definitely one of my favorites, and you have 3 lines here. The bottom line is the Osher endowment. So that's the one where the money is up with the Foundation for California Community Colleges, and we don't manage that at all. They send us our allocation and we award scholarships each year. The top line is a combination of the endowment that we manage along with our Osher, but it's that thick blue line in the middle that I love, because this is the IVC Foundation endowment. This is the one we manage. When we The vast majority of the gifts we get in for endowments go in here. Occasionally we get some for the Oshers, but mostly it's brand new endowments and they show up in this line. And you can see the tremendous growth from 19 to 20, from 1.32 million to 1.599 million. So next slide. I am pleased to report that according to our investment statements, that our balance in our endowment in June of 2015, which happens to be when I arrived, was just over 754,000. And as of December 2020, our balance was over 1.76 million. So our endowment has increased over $1 million in just over 5 years. The next goal for me is to hit a total of $2 million, which is in sight. I'm very happy about that. So next slide, please. Our foundation awards dinner, and we covered a bit of why the numbers were down. Again, our event got canceled. We had to return some sponsorships. We didn't have our Fund a Scholar. There was nothing live. Overall, we still did very well last year. We were at 112,000 gross and almost 90,000 net. So next slide, please. Our significant accomplishments. So I'd say my teams, there's one on here that I didn't put, there is one accomplishment that I did not list on here. And as I stated, we canceled our Foundation Awards dinner 2 days before our event. And my team did an amazing job of pulling all of the pieces apart. We had 2 business days, and one of those I was part of the interview panel for the new president. So they were on their own and they really did a phenomenal job. So kudos to them for doing that. And I know it's a strange accomplishment. In terms of what we did other than taking an event apart, and so we took it apart in 48 hours. It took us over a year to put together. But at the same time, we started an emergency fund, which was very clear that we were going to need one. We raised over 48,000 in contributions. Our board immediately allocated $40,000 from our unrestricted funds to award to students. And then we also had donors call and say, I donated scholarships this year. Please use that money for emergency funds. I think it's needed that way. We had one donor who understood the challenges, especially that our international students were having, and he said, use my scholarship donation to match the emergency funds that they're getting, because I know they have no other resources available. So overall, we wound up dispersing over $96,000 to 198 students. We work closely with the Vice President for Student Services and the Office of Financial Aid to process more than 2,480 applications, which was quite something. And we really set up a process that we hit some bumps along the way, but we really have a very smooth process at this point, and we will continue to award emergency grants into next year and into the future as needed by our students. Next slide, please. So additionally, again, back to my endowments, we had 9 new endowments started last year. A big one that's a little bit different is that we began accepting gifts of cyber currency. We are not the first nonprofit to do it, but we are among the early adopters. We've only received a few so far, but we have received a few gifts of cyber currency. And for those of you who are wondering, it's handled like stock gifts. So we never actually get the cyber currency. It goes to an organization, they cash it out, and we actually get dollars. We get a check. Again, our foundation assets increased 11%. And then we launched our Plan Giving website and program. And as I was going through our list, I realized that I did not include any of the preparation work that will result in our 2020-2021 activities. So during the 19-20 year, we put all of the plans in place to start reaching out to our retirees, and also to have our inaugural Giving Day, which was in October. So clearly I'll have a lot to share when we come back to give our 2020-2021 report. And now I will turn it over to Liz.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to present to you this evening. I'm Elizabeth McCann. I'm Executive Director of Saddleback College Foundation, and I'm just about to celebrate my second anniversary at Saddleback College, and I'm just absolutely thrilled to be here, so thank you. I'm excited to share this evening both our financial and then some of our team accomplishments from fiscal year 1920. And also, like Alyssa, give you some highlights about some exciting things that are happening recently that will eventually, filter into next year's report, but we just want to give you a sneak peek. Next slide, please. So first, in terms of our financial accomplishments, our net assets at Saddleback College Foundation are well over 10 million. We're getting, it's growing and growing. We rank 27th in the state out of about 100 community college foundations, or I'll say the top third, and we want to keep pushing that. So the yellow bar on this chart represents all of our endowment assets at Saddleback College Foundation, which also include quasi-endowments. We have a couple different quasi-endowments, and the orange bar is just the pure endowments from our financial statement footnote on endowments. Next slide, please. So another financial accomplishment that we want to highlight is that we had our first virtual gala. It was a great success. We exceeded our net goal of $140,000, and this represented a 25% increase in our net proceeds from 18-19. And I want to thank all the district trustees and leaders who generously contributed. We're so grateful. So I do want to point out that while our net proceeds were higher this past year, our gross proceeds were significantly lower than our in-person gala. And we got a lot of feedback from some of our sponsors who said that they just really prefer an in-person experience. And that's for a lot of reasons. It builds community, it brings us new donors. We also meet prospective new board members that way. We secure some pretty significant gifts as a result of that gala. People are more generous in person, and we are able to bring in more revenue with our silent auction, our live auction, and our fund in need when we're in person. So that said, I do want you to save the date for November 13th, 2021. We are planning, of course, with safety permitting, to be back in person at the Ritz-Carlton for our 26th annual gala. We do want to move forward. I know I get this question a lot about how are we going to learn from COVID-19? And I think one of the takeaways, there's so many, but one of them is incorporating a virtual aspect into our activities moving forward. So we do plan to have a virtual event of some kind that ties to our in-person event. We'll have all the pieces in place to do that. So we will plan for a virtual event after our in-person gala. And I just want to thank my amazing team at the foundation for pulling off an event that was such a tremendous success in what was a complete unknown to all of us, and also to our amazing campus partners who made this a reality. It was marketing and communications and IT, facilities, fine arts, our media tech team. It literally took a virtual village at Saddleback. So thank you. Next slide, please. Also, I just want to quickly highlight some significant gifts and grants that we've received at Saddleback College. We had a $490,000 science scholarship, $250,000 nursing scholarship that is an endowment. We've also received $100,000 in grants from Orange County Community Foundation for our Veterans Initiative, from California Community Foundation for nursing scholarships, Edison for STEM scholarships, and the Orange County Farm Bureau for our horticulture and landscape design program. And we seek to, really continue to expand our grant our grant support in the coming years. So next, onto team accomplishments. One thing that we're really proud of is that last year we transitioned the management of foundation scholarships from financial aid back into the foundation. And our wonderful Emily Kramer has just gone above and beyond to make this experience better for donors, better for student applicants, and then also for our scholarship reviewers as well. And the happier donors led to a 54% increase in the scholarships that we were able to award to our students this past fiscal year, which we're very happy about. These are purely Saddleback College Foundation scholarships. And I just want to thank our trustees who are generous donors to these scholarships, President Milchiker, Trustee Inman, Trustee Jay, and also thank you to President Milchiker for serving as a scholarship reviewer too. I hope she enjoyed the process. Next slide. So I call our team the Dream Team. We made a seamless transition to Saddleback College Foundation Online. We are 100% operational. The team's just doing remarkably well. Just like Alyssa mentioned, we also increased our emergency fundraising efforts for our students, and we've been able to award $100,000 to students with emergency needs. We just issued an additional $45,000 to students, and that was a donor who redirected some summer internship funds that he was giving to put it into the hands of our students who are most in need. So really, really proud of that. We've also made sure that we're focusing those foundation emergency funds on students who are not able to qualify for the federal emergency fund. So this has been really helpful to some of our most needy students. I don't like to talk about myself. It makes me a little uncomfortable, but I did want to share that, you know, from a personal and a professional standpoint, I really like to be engaged in my community. So at Saddleback College, I serve as chair of our stadium naming committee, and we do have some exciting things coming up there. I co-chair our stadium celebration work group, and we will be having a celebration, so stay tuned. I'm also project director for our higher education emergency relief funds, which will total over $12 million. And just like you know, our representative Levin said, we are eagerly awaiting those funds. We can't get it into the hands of our students fast enough. We also have a HERE work group that has become a dual college work group, and I've been leading that work group as well. At the state level, I serve on the network of California Community College Foundation boards, along with my wonderful colleague, Alyssa. So our district is very well represented on that board. And in the community, I also am a new member to Assistance League of Capistrano Valley, and then to AAUW San Clemente and Mission Viejo Saddleback Valley. So those are things I'm really happy to be involved in. On our next slide, this is just a snapshot of our income. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I do want to highlight that we doubled our cash contributions, or nearly doubled our cash contributions from the previous fiscal year. So that was very exciting for us. And then also our event income went up by $100,000. On the next slide, I'm just going to highlight a couple things here. And really, I'll focus on the expenses since we just covered support and revenue. But I did want to highlight that for program support, we were able to contribute an additional $200,000 to Saddleback programs this last fiscal year over the previous fiscal year. And you'll see on our net assets, our investments did dip a little bit as a result of the third quarter of 2020. We did take a hit in that March to June timeframe, and that did have an impact on our net assets, but I can assure you that we are fully and more than fully recovered at this point. So things will look very good in our next financial statements. So again here, you just see that little dip that we experienced as a result of Q4 in 2020. And for the next slide, again, I did talk about this. We did have a 42% increase in our dollars raised at Saddleback College Foundation from the previous fiscal year. And then next, I want to talk a little bit about scholarships, because this is such an important part of what we do. And I want to take a moment. I hope Adam Brownell is still on, and our wonderful ASG students, because I really cannot thank them enough for the scholarship support that they provide to our students. We use it as a match to encourage our donors to be generous. And I have to say, it works. We exhausted every penny that they gave us towards that match and still had donors who were asking for the match. So thank you so much, ASG. But just to share some highlights, we had our planning, research, and accreditation team perform a study on the impact of foundation scholarships. And you can see that the results really confirm the importance of the work that Alyssa and I do. Foundation scholarship recipients enroll in and earn more units. They also have higher retention rates, higher GPAs, and higher award attainment. So next slide. So as I shared earlier, we had a 54% increase in the scholarship awards to our students. So we're getting back on track to the years where we were able to be more generous. And of course, with these big scholarship gifts that we received and with our focus on scholarships, we're going to see this continue to grow. So this is really, really good news. So next on the endowments, this slide, again, it just reflects our pure endowments. It doesn't reflect the quasi endowments that we have. We have about $6 million additionally in quasi endowments that are both general funds for the foundation and then also a specific large quasi endowment for our Emeritus Institute. But these are just purely scholarships, funds that were set aside purely as endowment. And that does include our OSHERs, and I included them because that is money that we raised. It's not managed by our investment managers, but as Alyssa mentioned, it is managed by the Foundation for California Community Colleges, but we have about $900,000 that we raised at Saddleback and sent it to them so that we'd receive that match. On the benefits, I really like this slide, and I'll tell you why. This captures the total support that Saddleback College Foundation has provided to the college, its students, and its programs. And it represents a 4-to-1 return on the dollars that the college invests in the foundation. And so we're very proud of that. We want to keep seeing that ROI go up more and more. So please be assured that we are providing a tremendous benefit to the students and programs at our school. And then in terms of additional benefits, one of the things that a foundation brings to the college is our board of directors. They're engaged, they're outstanding ambassadors for the college. I'm working with board members daily, connecting them to faculty who are connecting our faculty to get our students in internships, and it's a wonderful relationship. This slide really just highlights the standing meeting time commitment that they put in. So if it's a general board meeting or a finance committee meeting, it doesn't capture all of the hours that they put in outside from those board meetings. And they really do contribute a lot of their time and their treasure as well. And we're so, so grateful for their service to Saddleback College Foundation. So I think that's it. I just wanted to share, and I know I can speak on behalf of Alyssa here, and just thank you all so much for all that you do to support our work. You're such, great advocates for the foundation. Thank you for the work that you do for our district and for our colleges as well.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments from any board members?
Yeah.
Trustee Jamal has his hand up.
I think Trustee Inman was before me.
Oh, Trustee Inman. Okay, go ahead.
That would either way would have been fine, but thank you. Yes. I'm back on page 21. When I read this, I wondered about this too. What is the nature of 484,000, et cetera, of district support?
So just like IVC's, pie chart that showed the district support, the district support is salaries and benefits for employees that are paid by the district.
So that would be like yourself and some of your main people, your whole team, or?
No, it's not my whole team. In fact, Saddleback College matches those salaries more than the district's, above and beyond the district support. It does cover my salary, and it covers a portion of 2 other staff members, one being our accountant and the other being our scholarship, Emily Kramer, who handles all of our scholarships for our students.
Okay, just wanted to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then Trustee Jamal.
Yes, thank you both for the work you do on the foundations. Very supportive of what you're doing and how you do it. Liz, I had a couple questions for you. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with the stadium naming committee, because you teased us. You said great things are happening, but you didn't tell us what was happening. So what's going on?
Yeah, so I'm working with 2 individual donors right now. We have their gift agreements in process. So those will be coming through for board approval. I can't share anything more than that, but one is quite significant. Also working with Collegiate Sports Management Group on sharing our sponsorship opportunities out in the greater market to industries that we don't have access to. So we reserve the first rights on working with any of the corporations and individuals that we already have a relationship with, and they are going to take this outside of our relationships. And I even got a call from them today. They're not even finished with the valuation, but they're getting, they're already getting out there in the market and connecting us to potential corporate sponsors. So I think there's going to be a lot of there's excitement about it. And you're going to see more to come. So, and we will be having that stadium celebration too.
Exciting.
That's great. So remember, I would advise you to, work with us, work with the trustees, get them involved with the process. We know a lot of people in the community, both in our private life and other things that we do. And I think, don't, hold this firm close to the vest that we've just hired. I think we can be assets for you in the community and making introductions. I'm just curious, you had a little deficit. The expenses, I think, exceeded revenues. I thought I saw that on the slide. And is that just a little blip, or
which slide?
What accounted for that? I thought maybe I misread as we were scrolling.
It was a change in net assets, Liz, the 155,000.
Oh yeah, we did.
Not the net assets change, the revenue expense deficit. You want to pull up that slide? Oh, is that it? Yeah. So there is. There was a deficit. Is there some cause for it, or?
No, generally our program services, we monitor those accounts very closely. Some of those expenses actually they're dispersed from our endowment. So they would go directly to a program the money is being generated from an endowment. So we're getting that income there. So I think that's probably part of it. It's just a small delta.
Okay, but in the future, we don't expect to have, it's $155,000 or so deficit, it looks like, for past years.
Like I said, some of those funds come directly from program funds, or they come from a disbursement from a fund that we've invested that support those programs.
Okay.
I will say, we're not spending as much on programs this year for certain, since we're not in person. That's
right.
Definitely will show up next year.
Right. No. I know the foundation's going to do extremely well the next few years. Hey, and Alyssa, great job. I'm just wondering, you are leading a a group that is losing an iconic leader. I'm wondering about the succession planning when Lisa steps down as president. Is there anything that you can share, or are you a board working through that?
Absolutely. Our board actually approved the 2021-2022 slate at our last board meeting on April 20th. So Michael Drennan, who recently retired from Cox Business, will be taking over as president. Rod Pierce will be serving as first vice president. Damian Howard as second vice president. We have a new treasurer whose name is Virginia Lorimer, and an alumnus who has a phenomenal story, who's actually our alumnus of the year at our 2020 Foundation Awards dinner. AJ Merton will be taking over as secretary. So we are prepped and ready to go. And I loved working with Lisa. She's an amazing leader. She has seen us through, as I reported, highs and lows. She's been an incredible partner, and I will absolutely miss her. But both of us are confident that Mike is up for the challenge, and change is a good thing. And we're looking forward to new ideas and a different form of leadership.
All right, right on. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, thank you. Are there any other comments? I thought that both presentations were just excellent, and I really thank you for helping our students with the emergency funds this past year. While, during the COVID, when so many students were out of work, people had to stay home and take care of their kids because their kids weren't in school. People couldn't afford rent or even food. So these emergency funds, I think, really saved some of our students' lives. It's been a really tough year for so many. So we really, really appreciate that. And I attended, of course, both virtual galas, and they both were wonderful. And you got everybody to raise their paddles to donate money, and as you said, I read a lot of scholarship applications this year for Saddleback College scholarships from one of the organizations I'm in, because we really donate significantly. And the students are so incredible, and they have such great needs, and they have such wonderful stories. If you just read some of their scholarship applications, you realize the students that we help through our foundation and through our colleges are just phenomenal. So I really thank you both for all the work that you do with that. I also wondered, Alyssa, what's an agency scholarship? It says agency scholarship.
The agency scholarships are the outside scholarships. They're also known as pass-through scholarships, where an organization goes through their own process. They cut a check to us, and then we cut the check to the student. It has always been part of our reporting, so we continue to keep those numbers in our report, but they are not actually funds raised.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I see. And then I just have to ask you, Liz, is the Bander Science Scholarship from Carol Bander?
It is.
She was a friend of mine. She was wonderful. Okay, she was a ESL teacher and German teacher, and her husband Myron Bander is a physics professor at UCI. Yeah. So that's great. I didn't realize she was so generous with her donation, but that's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. So that's why these endowments are so important. They just go in perpetuity. We have some in some of my organizations, and they're really important. So thank you so much for the, and the other thing is how data shows how the scholarships really improve student retention and GPA and completion, and have students complete after they get the scholarships. They really stay in school and they do better. It really makes them think that someone cares about them. So it's not just the money, it's also the idea that someone cares about them. So it's really important. So thank you so much. And now we move on to
Trustee Jay.
Trustee
what? Trustee Jay. I'm sorry.
Lisa, I want to thank you for doing Alyssa such a great job. And I want to know if Lisa Greenberg is still going to stay on the board.
She is. She will continue to serve on the board as the immediate past president. So she'll be part of the executive committee and part of the board. Okay. And I'll never let her get too far away.
Okay. And thank you for doing such a wonderful job. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, you both do. So thank you. And now, was there anything else, Trustee Jay?
No, that's it.
Okay, thank you. So thank both of you so much. And now we're moving on to 6.2. Wait, I'm sorry.
No. Yes, 6.2.
Yeah, it is 6.2, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And this is the assessment. This is the vote on the two foundations, but it's also on ATEP and on the district foundation. And it just shows the assessment in good standing of the foundation. So we moved it up so we could vote on it right after the presentation. So do we have
So
someone
moved.
that? Okay. Trustee Jamal moved and trustee Inman seconded. And can the board secretary please call the roll?
Trustee Inman.
Aye.
Trustee Jay.
Aye.
Trustee Jamal.
Aye.
Trustee Milchiker.
Aye.
Trustee Prendergast.
Aye.
Trustee Rydell.
Aye.
Trustee Wright.
Aye.
Student trustee Montefiore.
Aye.
President Milchiker, I believe the next presentation will be a little bit lengthy, so you may want to take a motion and a second to extend the meeting now. And if there is any interest in taking a break, you might want to do that as well.
So I move that we extend the meeting to up until 10 p.m. and that we
I
take
second.
take a 15-minute break and return at 8:45.
Okay, is there a second?
Aye.
Okay, trustee
Or
Witt.
maybe
second.
10-minute break. I don't know. 10 minutes? 15 minutes?
10 minutes is enough.
Okay, 10-minute. 10-minute
Okay, so
break.
8:30, so come back at 8:40. So do we need to have a roll call for this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Trustee Inman.
Aye.
Trustee Jay.
Aye.
Trustee Jamal.
Aye.
Trustee Milchiker.
Aye.
Trustee Prendergast.
Aye.
Trustee Rydell.
Aye.
Trustee Wright.
Aye.
Student trustee Montefiore.
Aye.
The next item is 4.4, a presentation, the basic aid allocation recommendation. And then after this item, we will move 6.3 up, which is the basic aid, then when we'll vote on the item at that time. But it's the next item is 6.3, but that's the one we'll vote on. This is 4.4. I was talking to the chancellor today about changing the order of the agenda to make it a little more friendly for everyone. Anyway, so right now we're at item 4.4, the presentation for the basic aid allocation recommendation to the board. And the District Resource Allocation Council, or DRAC, is chaired by the Vice Chancellor of Business Services. And DRAC received prioritized project list considerations from the Capital Improvement Committee, or KIC, and the District Technology Committee, DTC. These are some of the acronyms that we actually received a list of from the Chancellor. So anyway, so
Thank you.
Kim McCord, are you leading the discussion?
Right, so I will, I'll introduce, this is Anne Marie Gable. And we do have Kim McCord, who is our Executive Director of Fiscal Services, but we also have Mr. Manhani Ephraim, who is the District Director of Facilities Planning. And actually, Mr. Ephraim is going to kick us off tonight, and then he will turn it over to Kim. With that, Manhani, are you on? There you are.
Yes, I am. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Great. Thank you, Vice Chancellor Gable, Board President Milchiker, and fellow board members for having me in today. Again, my name is Medhani Ephraim, Executive Director of District Facilities Planning. I want to start off today by real quick, just again, while we've been going through a pandemic, our construction program has been going extremely strong. And none of that honestly could be possible without the support we've had from a numerous amount of people involved in this program. College FMOs, district facilities planning team, and also the faculty and staff that have been involved in multiple Zoom sessions to help us during programming for a lot of our buildings. So thank you so much to everyone. You'll find today that the projects are grouped in 3 categories. In-design projects, of which we have 7 projects currently, under construction projects, of which we have 4, and upcoming projects, of which we have 2. Next slide, Emery. Thank you. The first project is the IVC Fine Arts project. We are currently in design with this project. The project will have 3 new buildings totaling a little under 63,000 gross square feet. with the fine arts departments essentially consolidating all the different units that you see listed here below. The current status, we've completed working drawings. This is a state-funded, partially state-funded project. We are awaiting for the state chancellor's office to approve to go to bid on that. So it's with them right now. The timeline for this currently, we're hoping to bid late spring, early summer, go to construction summer of 2021, and construction completion spring 2023. The total project budget is 60.8 million, of which of that we have a state match of 22.4 million. Next slide, please. The next project is another state-funded, partially state-funded project that's currently in design with a new 3-story, about a little under 78,000 gross square feet, which will house all the critical student support services functions, all listed here. There's quite a few, and will centralize essentially all these functions. Similar to the fine arts projects, we are also awaiting approval to go to bid with this. We are done with the working drawings, so as soon as the state chancellor's office gives us the green light, we'll go to bid. Currently, the bid phase for this is for late spring, early summer, depending on when we get the go-ahead for this. Construction start is summer of 2021, construction completion fall 2022. Project budget 70 million with a state match inclusive of 25.3 million. Next slide, please. Our third partially state-funded project is the Saddleback Science Math Building, which is currently in design. A new 3-story building, 49,385 gross square feet. This will house the computer science departments and math departments and lecture classrooms and a large assembly room. This project also is unique in that we will, there's currently a bridge that's adjacent to it that we will be replacing that bridge to make ADA compliant, and also have a connection to the lot 10 to make ADA compliant. The topography in this area, as you can imagine, has a lot of ADA complexity, which will be addressed in this project. The current status is we just submitted the preliminary plan with this, and so that it's with the state chancellor's office, and we are waiting for their approval for us to begin the working drawings. We're hoping to finish design on this fall of 2021, with a construction start a year out in fall of 22, with a construction completion summer of 2024. Project budget's 58.4 million. Inclusive of that is $20.2 million in state match. Next slide, please. All right, the next project in design is the Saddleback at ATEP building. The project is currently in design. The project will include 2 new buildings totaling approximately 50,000 gross square feet. It will house the culinary arts, hospitality, advanced transportation, and logistics. Currently in design development with this project, and those 2 renderings that you see are what the building will look like. Design completion, we're estimating summer of 2022, construction start fall of 2022, and completion summer of 24. And this project budget's about 80.5 million. IVC Student Services and Student Union currently in design. 2 new buildings will be built, totaling about 73,197 gross square feet. We will be replacing 2 current buildings, the Student Services Center and B100, and also redoing the big quad in the middle of there with a complete new redesign. And also included in that is putting a new drop-off area by the parking lot. This project will consolidate both the student services in the student services building, obviously, and the student union building, housing the food services and ASIBC. Currently 75% complete with respect to the construction document phase. We are hoping to complete spring of 2022, construction start 2025, and construction completion 2027. This project is 101 million budget total. Next slide, please. The next project we have is the district-wide ADA transition plan project, currently in design. This is phase 1 of the ADA transition plan. We are now following up on our ADA transition plan and addressing all the items that were listed on the ADA transition plan. This is one of multiple phases that we will be doing. So phase one, project will be at both campuses, renovations of restrooms, replacement of sidewalks to make ADA compliant, and new ADA compliant ramps, stairs, and plaza areas. Currently, we are out to bid on this project. The two renderings that you see are just different areas, on one in IVC and one in Saddleback. We are hoping to, this project, like we said, is currently out to bid. Construction start June 2021, and construction completion actually is more of March 2022. There a slight date change there. The current phase one project is $9 million for this phase, and then the overall ADA project down, the line here is we're approximating $27 million. That we're hoping will address all of the ADA items that came up in the ADA transition plan. Next project we have is the Saddleback Landscape Project, currently as well in design. The intent is here is to essentially beautification across the Saddleback campus. It includes all three main entrances of the campus, parking lot 13, the prior temporary lot, south of lot 10, area between the CDC and the stadium. And the picture that you see there is the rendering that you see is the Marguerite main entrance as one of the locations that we're doing. Current status is we're at 50% design development. The timeline for this, we're hoping to complete design August 2021, construction start fall of 2021, and completion summer of 22. And the project budget is, overall 2.6 million. Of that, 1.5 from basic aid, and then 1 million from Saddleback College. Next slide, please. The Saddleback PE renovation project, the renovation includes renovation of the women's locker room, installation of new rooftop HVAC units on the PE 100 building, renovation of the restrooms in PE 300 to meet accessibility requirements. So we're, for the most part, done with this project. It came out absolutely amazing. We're in DSA closeout right now and addressing some FF&E items. So we're hoping to be complete at the end of spring here. Total project for this was 3.1 million.
On that night.
IVC, the next project is IVC parking lot solar shade, currently under construction. So now we are under the construction parking lot solar shade at IVC. It's currently in lot 6 of the IVC campus. Once complete, the output hopefully will be, the goal is 1.3 megawatt of photovoltaic panels supported by parking canopies. That 1.3 is approximately 1/3 of what the total capacity IVC needs. IVC needs about 3.8 to go full net zero on this. And this is based on the previous sustainability plan that we worked on. So more to come on that, and we're looking forward to that. Construction phase is at 40% complete. They're moving extremely fast with this project. Since we took this project, they've already put the panels up and currently are working on wiring and installing the inverters for the project. And we're hoping, as you can see from the schedule here, that they're going to be done by late spring of 2021. Total construction cost is, project cost, excuse me, is 8.7 million. Next slide, please. Next project adjacent to the solar project is the IVC soccer and practice field, which is currently under construction. They just started. It encompasses approximately about 13.7 acres, so it's a fairly large site. And we're going to be renovating the baseball fields and the 2 varsity soccer fields and the soccer practice field. So it includes both, in some cases, natural grass in the actual playing field, and then synthetic turf around the perimeters of both the varsity soccer fields and baseball fields. And we are also including aluminum bleachers for the soccer fields, which will seat approximately 96 people. Construction phase, again, like I said, we just started. We are approximately at 15%, but this project will move pretty quick. We're hoping to complete this project fall of 2021. And the total project cost is 10.1 million. Another large project we have at Saddleback is the ATAS building project. This is a project that's also moving pretty fast. We are going to have, once complete, two-story structure at 52,913 gross square feet, which will house the areas that we see here: architectural and drafting, advanced manufacturing, and a whole slew of other areas here. It has two other components, the tennis center and the parking lot connector road as part of the project. The tennis center has one competition court, 7 recreational courts, which includes the 2 pickleball courts, and then a structure that has 2 team rooms, 4 gender neutral restrooms as well. The parking lot and connector road has 462 additional parking stalls for the college, which is huge. And the project itself as well has 6 electrical vehicle charging stations as part of the project. So the status on those 3 areas, the tennis center is complete. We are done with that portion of the project. The parking lot, we're pretty much substantially complete. We are going to start do a substantial walk very soon, and that will be handed over to the college fairly soon. The ATAS building project, that's the picture that you see there, the east elevation, is at 40% complete. We're hoping to complete construction summer of 2022. The total project cost for this project is $70.5 million. The next couple of projects that you're going to see are upcoming projects, and again, pending board approval, because these are new projects that are slated to start in July 1 of 21. This is for the Saddleback campus. The solar canopy project will be a multi-phase project. This is phase 1 of that project. This project will be, the phase 1 will be about 2 megawatts of the photovoltaic panel supported on parking canopies. And the 2 megawatts for this campus will be about 1/4 of the size this campus needs, essentially, to go net zero. So the other 3/4 will be done in multiple other phases. And we had to break it up like that, obviously, to be able to still have parking on campus. So hence the approximate 4 phases that we created. Again, this is pending board approval today as one of 2 new projects we're bringing online in July 1. The timeline for this is start design spring of 22, construction start fall of 22, and construction completion summer of 23. The total project budget for phase 1 is $5.5 million. All right, the next project that we're also adding in July 1, pending board approval, is the Saddleback Parking Lot 12 expansion and softball field. This will, integrate the campus topography. There's a lot of elevation changes that in that part of the campus. We're going to be addressing Title IX deficiencies in this area, create accessible pedestrian connections to the PE complex and the new stadium. We will be demolishing the existing fields. And part of the scope in this project, we are looking at expanding lot 12, but also in that expansion, we're looking at putting photovoltaic carports in all of lot 12. So we're excited about that as well. Again, this is pending board approval today. Timeline for this, we're hoping to start design, or complete design, spring of 22. Construction start spring of 23, and then complete construction spring of 24. Project budget, total project budget is $13.8 million. Next slide, please. Next, Kim is going to take us on this portion of this presentation.
Thank you, Medhani. So our District Resource Allocation Council, as we mentioned, are fondly known as DRAC, is responsible for making these budget recommendations to the Chancellor. So the DRAC met this spring, and we did receive the project proposals from KIC and DTC. And we negotiated and we were able to compile a list to come up with all the funding we had available. And the Chancellor and Presidents have reviewed and support these recommendations. Next slide. So the first thing we do is determine how much money we have available early in the spring. We're estimating we'll have over 21 million at the end of this fiscal year. Then the basic aid receipts for next year are 97.8 million. And we have our 20% contingency, 19.5 million, which leaves us with 99.5 million available to allocate. Then the components we have are our long-term obligations and our fixed expenses. Those were estimated at 12.5 million. We ended up with over 70 million for our capital projects and 16.5 million for technology projects, for that total 99.5 million. Our long-term obligations consist of our normal costs for our retiree benefits that we budget each year based on our actuarial study. We continue to contribute to our pension rate stabilization program to offset those increased pension costs. We also cover our credit card and bank fees, and we set aside money for legislative advocacy, and that's that 12.5 million. Capital projects have several categories. One is the capital projects, which are based on our priorities from our facility strategic master plan. That's 48.3 million. We also have special project support, our ADA ongoing allocation of 3 million, some scheduled maintenance projects, and renovation and other facility related projects. And that totals 70.4 million. So a little more detail now, our capital projects, you can see the list here. These are many of the projects that Medhani had already gone over. The big ones being the Student Service Center at 10 million, the parking lot expansion at over 10 million, and the others are just keeping pace with our cash flow estimates based on our facility master plan. The special project support is our ATEP site development, the ongoing money to keep that site going until we get it all leased out. And then our 3 million, as I said, annual allocation for ADA projects. For scheduled maintenance, both colleges have some infrastructure projects that'll be starting, as well as IVC's ongoing scheduled maintenance allocation and Saddleback's utility distribution system upgrade. And then there's the renovation projects, the IVC B200 building, and some site work at Saddleback. The technology projects have 3 categories, A, B, and C, that total 16.5 million, and I'll go into each of those categories on the next 2 slides. Category A is our district-wide systems. The first is our student system at 1.8 million, and the other is our HR finance system at 1.2 million. Category C are the college projects, which include all of their refresh desktop server refreshes, expanding the outdoor wireless at IVC, a security camera refresh at Saddleback. On the next slide, the category B, which are district-wide projects. The very large one you can see in the middle is a district-wide network refresh. This is refreshing the networks for the district services and both colleges as one large project. The other projects are security updates, a large one to improve our data warehouse upgrade, and several smaller projects related to our student system, totaling 9.6 million. And now our future basic aid funding estimates. And Hani's going to cover this next section.
Great, thank you, Kim. So last summer, the board approved the facilities master plan, the 2020-2040 facilities master plan. It literally, this master plan takes us out all the way to 2040. What we try to do here is to really give you a 4-year outlook of our cash flow and what we're requesting. The way we're funding our projects, we're not funding the, for example, the Gateway project that you see listed here up front. We're not fully funding it. We're funding it based on our needs that fiscal year. And what that allows us to do essentially is fund other projects during the fiscal year. And it essentially ramps up our capital program, if you will. So this is a 4-year outlook of what that looks like. It's just a snapshot of the facilities master plan. The 21-22 request that you see, that column, it's the 4th column. That's the request that we're requesting this upcoming year. That's up in 6.2 for approval. The last 3 columns that you see are future years that we were going to be requesting additional funds for. For example, Gateway. We know that come July of 21 or June of 21, we're going to be requesting 4.6 million for 22-23 to complete the needs for that project. So this gives you a snapshot of what our needs are in the future. I don't want to go too deep into it. Anne-Marie, if we can just quickly go to the next slide. This shows future projects. This is literally right out of our facilities master plan. And as you go down the list, you're going to see that those 3 columns getting fuller and fuller because these are newer projects. For example, the solar canopy phase 1, that's one we are hopefully will start in July 1. That we're currently requesting 1.1 million for, but the total project budget is 5.5. We've spread that out based on the needs for that fiscal year, like I said. And then if you go to the next slide, Anne-Marie, thank you. And then we go further down on our list of projects. The needs go out further to 23, 24, and further. But if you look at the IBC infrastructure, these are general projects that we have assigned as well that come up annually, or in some cases pushed out depending on the needs of the college. So you might see a fund request that year, or any outlining year, if you will. I think there's one more slide, Anne-Marie. Thank you. So, these are district-wide projects as well. Similar, earlier I talked about the ADA project, the 27 million. Currently, we have a $9 million project for phase 1. But this, we're asking for 3 million. I think in the past, this was shared with the board as well, for us to be able to tackle all the ADA issues that we have. So currently this year, there's a 70.4 million ask, if you will. And then if you look at the last 3 columns, that's the projected ask. So with the 4-year outlook. So we're looking at it. We keep track of it, and with the help of KIC and DRAC as well. As a group, we review these projects annually.
All right, and I'll cover this final funding estimates. So the first line is our total revenue estimates, and that's based on a 3% annual increase in our secured property taxes and our enrollment fees basically staying flat. The DRAC allocation is the first thing that comes off of our total revenue, and we show increases in that based on the school services COLAs for those years. And when you subtract that off, it gets you the net basic aid funds we have available, that third line. From that, we have those long-term obligations, our retiree benefit fund, our pension fund, and those small items. And that gives us that amount available for basic aid allocation. So in 22-23, that's 87.2 million. And you can see the other 2 years at 91 and almost 94 million. The facilities master plan, those are the 3 numbers that Manhani just went over and summarized for you, the 78, 73, and 73 million. And then we have just a kind of a rough estimate of technology needs. They are working on their master plan right now. And once they complete that, these numbers will be updated. You can see in 22-23, we're showing we have a small shortfall in funding that we'll address when we get to that year. And the other 2 years look like we can cover the costs that we know about at this time. And I believe that's it. Happy to take your questions.
I'm sorry, I went over a lot of this with the chancellor earlier today. Trustee Jamal had his hand up. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for putting this together. Very comprehensive report, future outlook. I think I requested, or maybe you were going to do this anyway, but thank you for putting it together. I guess, I mean, there's so much in here, and I may have some follow-up questions later on tomorrow, the next few days, but I guess a top, kind of an overall question. I don't know, you can answer it. So as obviously we're emerging from COVID, online learning is here to stay. How is the future outlook of our, education at Saddleback and IBC? Is that factored into our, capital improvements plans as we, move forward the next few years?
It's a reasonable question.
Well, I'm looking at all this physical infrastructure,
Yeah.
and the online learning is here to stay. It's been here, and it's not going to stop with us emerging to some normal life after. Well, the governor says everything's perfect after June 15th. So, have you guys thought about this?
So remember that a lot of this construction is replacement, and in some cases, the construction for the math science building, for example, will go down slightly in terms of the gross square foot. So, and buildings have a 30 to 50 year life cycle. So in many cases, we are replacing what currently exists.
Yeah.
And then the heavy infrastructure, a lot of that has to do with maintaining the network. And things like parking lots and so forth, all of that is just basic infrastructure that you have to maintain. And then adding on top of that, the photovoltaics is the long range planning for looking at sustainable construction and also generating your own power.
Yeah, we put photovoltaic on our house, and our last electric bill was zero, so that was kind of nice. But anyway,
right, it has both the sustainability for the health of the earth as well as being fiscally responsible, because you reduce your demand of the other power sources.
So do we have EV charging stations are in these budgets?
Sure.
Electric vehicle charging stations.
Yeah.
We do. We have 6 that we spoke of that are that have been installed at the ATAS project. So we're excited about that. We're finalizing that and completing that. Hopefully it'll be ready, should be ready early summer. We're also looking at working with Southern California Edison for IVC and San Diego Gas and Electric here at Saddleback for essentially installing EV charge ready. There's an EV charge ready program for both utilities basically. So we're working with them for that. The IVC one is Edison has a much broader program, a very aggressive program. So we're not sure exactly how many we'll be able to install, but we're going to be able to install a lot, and it's fully covered. The infrastructure at least is fully paid for, and all we would need to purchase are the actual just charging stations themselves. So we're excited. We just had a meeting with Edison on that. Same thing with San Diego Gas and Electric. We're looking at doing something similar, albeit a smaller size project, about 10 to 12. Hopefully, we're trying to get approval for that. But also, we are looking at just us installing those EV charge ready charge stations, if you will, as part of other projects moving forward. One of them potentially being hopefully the solar project coming in the future with phase 1. So we're definitely looking at those programs.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if we should ask questions about the buildings now, because this is actually about the basic aid money. It's not really about the buildings, even though you're describing the buildings.
Well, it's a combination of both.
Right.
Okay.
So if you have questions about the construction program, this is the appropriate time to ask them.
Yeah. I'd like to be kept up to date. I mentioned it today with maps of where all the, I discussed it and I did figure out where all the buildings are going, but with maps so we could see where all these buildings are going on the campus. I realized that the IVC, the new student services building is going to go where the old student service building is after that's torn down. And of course the math science building is in the same location. Correct. But I'd just like a kind of a map to see all this.
So that's Marcia. I think that's a great idea. I feel like because we've been in virtual environments for such a long time, that I think this presentation is good, but I think we could all use a tour at some point, maybe in the fall. Just get a, I'm a visual person. I think some people are as well. I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, I agree. A tour of IVC, of course, ATEP again, because we're making changes there, and Saddleback College. And also the maps, I think would be really helpful. So I know we did, a plan, a fiscal, plan of how it's going to be, but are we following the plan? It'd be good to know if we're following the plan. I also like to know if the Saddleback Landscape Project, I'd like to know if they're working with the horticulture department in that, and making sure they have native plants and sustainable design. So in that.
Yes, short answer,
Okay.
absolutely, yes.
Okay.
And Trustee Milchiker, to answer your question, if we're following the facilities master plan, yes, we are. And that was the last 4 slides here. These 4 slides came directly from the facilities master plan. And so we have listed them in the priority order as they showed up on the facilities master plan. And that's how, you know, we're working the plan, and we're trying to implement the plan.
Yeah, that's excellent. So that as we're completing these buildings, we have a very logical plan to know exactly where the building should be put, you know, so and what's the best for the students and for, you know, the faculty and for the staff.
Right.
So that's great. So I wouldn't even mind seeing the original facilities master plan and where the buildings are being shown now. It doesn't have to be, you know, done by an architect, but just kind of a drawing of where the buildings are and where they, you know.
And that does exist in the facilities master plan. So we can send you the link again so that you can look at that, or we can also just provide you a copy of the one pager that has that in there.
Okay, great. Sounds good.
Trustee Inman has a question.
Yes, this question was probably dealt with the facilities master plan before I got here, but I noticed a significant difference in the number of projects and the amount of money being spent at Saddleback over IVC. Now, IVC is newer, it's smaller, you know, there's lots of possible reasons that are all valid. But I would like to know kind of what they are and if IVC is getting everything that it needs.
So I think you did hit on it. IVC is newer and IVC is smaller. And so that's why you will see greater needs at Saddleback as far as the number of buildings and the size of the buildings and where the building, you know, just the campus itself. The facilities master plan includes everything that both campuses put on their plan. There wasn't any project that didn't make it into the facilities master plan. And the timing that we did on prioritizing and laying out that cash flow, you know, some of the things may be stretched out longer than what originally was intended, but due to the cash flow, we're trying to be really realistic on how much cash we will have available to fund the project so that we can just continue implementing the plan as it was designed, while still giving us flexibility if things change, you know, at the campus and their priorities change. So it's not so set that we're not going to be able to be flexible and change priorities. That is something that, you know, we are looking at and trying to work with both of the campuses to make sure that what we're doing is meeting their needs at that point in time, while still looking into the future to be able to move the things that we need to move.
Thank you. I should have started off that this whole thing is terribly impressive, and the amount of planning and work that has gone into these, you know, is very, very excellent. So thank you.
And Trustee Inman, we will send you a link to the facilities master plan so that you can see what was approved.
Good idea. Thanks.
What? That's great. Why don't they send us all a link to that? Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's on the website as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Student trustee Massey.
I wanted to know, are we being mindful of gender neutral bathrooms, and do all these buildings include them?
Yes, they do. It's part of our standard now to include gender neutral restrooms. If you notice, that new tennis center, I think, has 2, and all future buildings will have gender neutral restrooms.
That's great. Thank you.
Excellent. Good. And the buildings in Saddleback on ATEP, the one's going to be culinary arts and one's going to be advanced auto mechanics, advanced auto production. And will they both be done by the same architect and done at the same time?
Right.
Both buildings?
Correct, yes. It's actually one project. They're just going to be two buildings essentially adjacent next to each other. So yes, one designer currently, and it will be one bid project.
Okay, great.
Marcia?
Yeah, yes, Trustee Wright.
I think this is a great plan. I mean, you've done an awful lot of work on this, and it looks good. I mean, I know from Saddleback, I mean, those buildings are needed, and also IVC, so it looks good.
And I know you.
We need to go.
You know, you're not going to miss the old science math building. I know that.
No.
For sure.
All the problems.
Yeah, with all the big problems. So that'll be interesting. Is the new science math building similar to the old science math building, or is it completely different?
It's different.
It's different.
Okay. It's
Very
different.
much
Okay.
different.
Okay.
It was on purpose.
Okay, great. Excellent. Thank you. Oh, there are no more questions? I guess we could move.
Trustee Whit-Rydell.
Trustee Whit-Rydell.
Yes, I believe I heard you say that we are planning the spacing between these projects because of parking issues, et cetera, correct?
Right. I think I was talking about the solar project, right? We intentionally, spread it out instead of making it one giant solar project. We made sure to split it into 4 phases, Trustee Rydell.
Okay.
So we didn't want to impact the campus, obviously, and students not have any parking because 6 point something megawatts. That's a lot of solar. So we phased it intentionally so we don't impact the campus. Obviously the schedule just in the facilities master plan alone was also phased accordingly. So we try to minimize the impact to the colleges. And so we have X amount under construction and X amount under design and whatnot. So there's just kind of fluid motion to it. We are cognizant of that and don't want to impact the colleges too much.
Okay.
And I imagine you're able to do a lot of construction much more easily while the students weren't there this year. True.
Yeah. Again, absolutely, Trustee Milchiker. I can't thank enough all the folks that have been involved during this pandemic. I mean, without them, I don't know what we would have done. We've been doing things just without skipping a beat. And so everyone has been instrumental in being a part of this process.
Great. And I just wondered, the Fine Arts building at IVC, that's going to be, I understand, behind the PAC right
Correct.
there in IVC? Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, great. In that location where the arts complex at IVC, that makes sense.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions from any other trustees? Okay, so now we can move forward. Thank you so much. Great presentation. To item 6.3, the basic aid allocation recommendation for fiscal year 21-22. Do we have someone that will make a motion?
I so move.
Okay, Trustee Wright moves and Trustee Whit-Rydell seconds it. So, Madam Secretary, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Inman. Aye. Trustee Jay.
Aye.
Trustee Jamal.
Aye.
Trustee Milchiker.
Aye.
Trustee Prendergast.
Aye.
Trustee Rydell.
Aye.
Trustee Wright.
Aye.
Student Trustee Montefiore.
Aye.
Okay, the next item is the consent. We're just getting to the consent calendar. Anyway, the next item is the consent calendar item. So I think someone probably will remove item 5.2. Will someone remove item 5? Is there any, would any trustee like to remove any item from the consent calendar?
No.
Hold on a second.
You could
Hold on.
remove item 5.2, okay?
Fine.
I second that.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay, so Jim, do you remove item 5.2?
I said yes.
Okay, yes, okay, thank you. Are there any other items that any other board member would like to remove from the consent calendar?
No.
Okay, so do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar with the exception of item 5.2?
So moved.
Second.
So Trustee Jay moves and Trustee Whit-Rydell, did you second it? Think so. Okay. Madam Secretary, can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Inman.
Aye.
Trustee Jay.
Aye.
Trustee Jamal.
Aye.
Trustee Milchiker.
Aye.
Trustee Prendergast.
Aye.
Trustee Rydell.
Aye.
Trustee Wright.
Aye.
Student trustee Menefee.
Aye.
Okay, so the next item is 5.2 resolutions. There are 8 resolutions, 7 honor specific individuals, including student trustee Menefee, and 6 resolutions honoring professors of the year. And the final resolution recognizes classified employee week. So the clerk of the board, trustee Whit Rydell, do you want to read, you read the information you have about the resolutions?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So in moving 5.2 recognizes formal resolution given, sorry. Okay, 5.2 recognizes formal resolutions given by the Board of Trustee to honor extraordinary achievements as well as those who provide honorable and lasting contributions to students, the community, or education. The honorees will accept their board resolutions and will be recognized for their achievements at respective college campuses. The first resolution, and I'm very proud to say, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I'd like to take a moment to thank student trustee Ethan Menefee for his excellent student leadership on the board. Ethan did so effectively with his many initiatives and outreach to students district-wide and with the greater Orange County community. Wow. In addition to the resolution, we would like to honor him with a plaque that will be mailed to him following the board meeting. Thank you for your thoughtful service on behalf of more than 37,000 students, Ethan. We wish you the best in the future and your endeavors. Don't forget us. Thank you. The second resolution encompasses 2 through 7. This is Professor, Associate Professor, and Emeritus Professor of the Year. Congratulations to our Faculty of the Year, who exemplify the difference teachers make in students' lives. We recognize and deeply appreciate your commitment to your area of expertise and your dedication to success of our students. The honorees will accept their board resolution and will be recognized for their achievement at their prospective college campuses in the near future. It is David Barlow, Saddleback College, full-time Professor of the Year. Donna Feeler, Saddleback College, Associate Professor of the Year. Richard Meyerson, Emeritus Professor of the Year. Bennett Tchaikovsky, Irvine Valley College, full-time Professor of the Year. James Boyd, Irvine Valley College, Associate Professor of the Year. And Yada Robitaille, Irvine Valley College, Emeritus Professor of the Year. Congratulations to all of you. It is a very high honor. The last resolution deals with Classified School Employee Week. We applaud our classified employees for the work they do to keep our colleges and district running smoothly. California's legislature recognizes the important contributions of classified school employees and names the 3rd week of May Classified School Employee Week. This year, Classified Employees Week will be celebrated May 16th through the 22nd. All our best to you, classified employees, and thank you for all that you do for us. You make us look good. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Whit-Rydell. So we're moving right along to general action items, and the next one is 6.4. Hello?
I need to vote. You need to vote?
Vote on 5.2.
Oh, okay. We need to vote on item 5.2. Is there a?
So moved.
Okay, Trustee Jay moves. Is there a second?
I second.
And Trustee Wright seconds it. So Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Inman.
Okay, aye.
Good, great.
Trustee Jay.
Aye.
Trustee Jamal.
Aye.
Trustee Milchiker.
Aye.
Trustee Prendergast.
Aye.
Trustee Rydell.
Aye.
Trustee Wright.
Aye.
Student trustee Monafi.
Aye.
Great. Thank you. Now we're moving on to the general action items. We did the first three at the beginning. So now we're moving to 6.4, which is OCSBA Board of Directors interest form. Would trustee Prendergast where did he go? Would trustee Prendergast, would you like to be nominated for this? To be
Oh, I thought I was being kicked out of the meeting there for a minute so that I wouldn't be able to.
when you leave, you get appointed to things. So that's what always happens. You're about to get appointed to the OCSBA Board of Directors.
Yeah, I don't mind continuing that role.
Okay, does someone like to make a motion?
Unless somebody else really wants to do it.
I second.
Okay, no, I think you've done a great job in the last 3 years doing it. I did it for 25 years. So anyway, trustee.
I think I've been doing it for 9.
Wow.
That's great. I did it for over 25 years.
Oh,
So
Marcia, you know, he's right on your heels.
yeah, pretty soon you can reach me. So that's great. And it's great because, you know, you're a teacher in the community. So you cover.
Okay,
both
we have a
things.
motion in a second.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, motion in a second. Trustee Jamal made the motion, and who made the second?
I did.
And trustee Witt made the second. So please call the roll.
Trustee Inman.
Aye.
Trustee Jay.
It's getting broken up. She said aye.
She said aye.
Okay. Trustee Jamal.
Aye.
Trustee Milchiker.
Aye.
Trustee Prendergast.
Aye.
Trustee Rydell.
Aye.
Trustee Wright.
Aye.
Student trustee Monafi.
Aye.
Okay, congratulations, trustee Prendergast. Okay, 6.5 is the campus wireless project at Saddleback College. Is there a motion to approve it?
So moved.
Okay, trustee Wright moves with trustee Jay seconding. And are there any questions or comments?
No, but can you change the screen?
Oh yeah, can you change the screen? I have my own notes I put here with everything in it. So and this is for $1,395,000 to put wireless all over the Saddleback College campus, which includes all the different areas outside, which is great. So Madam Secretary, can you call the roll?
Trustee Inman.
Aye.
Trustee Jay.
Aye.
Trustee Jamal.
Aye.
Trustee Milchiker.
Aye.
Trustee Prendergast.
Aye.
Trustee Rydell.
Aye.
Trustee Wright.
Aye.
Student trustee Monafi.
Aye.
Okay, the next item is 6.6. It's a cost share agreement with 7 other community college districts. And these are the 8 community college districts in California that are basic aid districts. And we're sharing the cost to hire a lobbyist essentially. So is there a motion for approval?
I move.
So trustee
I
Inman
second.
and trustee Wright seconds it. As you can see at the last item, we really need to fight to keep our basic aid. So that's my feeling.
Yeah, and I just had
Yeah.
one comment, Marcia.
Yes.
I'm going to support this. I already registered, you know, some of my thoughts on this. I think it's a good idea. I do want to be sure that there's actual work being done, and I know that I think in the agreement it calls for some I'm pulling it up now, but strategic planning. I kind of view this as preemptive, and you know, lobbying is rarely preemptive. It's usually you engage and you're dealing with a threat or you're trying to get something passed. This seems to be more preemptive. So I think cost-wise, it's a good deal, but I just want to be sure like real work's being done.
Yeah, yeah.
And-
I do know that because I was really involved with the statewide trustees last year, that there was a real threat to the basic aid districts. They were trying to take some of our funding away, but that we got through that. So there's no threat now, but there was one. So I think that's what people are worried about.
And then if we're doing any lobbying visits, I think it'd be pretty, you know, we should consider coordinating the work with the other districts, obviously, if that would probably be part of it, if we're all in this coalition together.
Yeah, are we taking the lead? I think we're taking the lead in this, right?
Yes.
We're doing some of this background work. Sunny Cook from Miracosta is chairing and I'm sort of semi-co-chairing.
It's hard to know. You're right, if it's worthwhile or not, but then if you don't do it, you kind of wish you had sometimes. So I think it's a good investment personally, but I understand what you're saying, you know. Okay. Is there?
You
do
have a
any other
motion in a second. We just need the roll call.
Yeah, trustee, Madam Secretary, can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Inman.
Aye.
Trustee Jay.
Aye.
Trustee Jamal.
Aye.
Trustee Milchiker.
Aye.
Trustee Prendergast.
Aye.
Trustee Rydell.
Aye.
Trustee Wright.
Aye.
Student trustee Monteith.
Aye.
Okay, and the next item is,
I suggest that you take the next two items together, 6.7 and 6.8. One is review and study and the other is approve.
But how can we do that if the one, okay, we can take them together. We could vote on them both together, right? Okay, so we'll
One
take.
motion in a second and then call the roll.
Okay, so trustee Whit-Rydell, did you make a motion?
No.
Okay, can I have a motion?
I can make a motion, so moved. Okay.
Okay, trustee Whit-Rydell made a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, trustee Jay, there's a second. And the first item, 6.7, are a number of items for review and study, and 6.8 are for approval, and they're just the transfer center and the student health service. So they're pretty small policies. I read them, of course. So is there any discussion on them? I think our board actually looked through these before. So can you please call the roll?
Trustee Inman.
Aye.
Trustee Jay.
Aye.
Trustee Jamal. Trustee Milchiker.
Aye.
Trustee Prendergast.
Aye.
Trustee Rydell.
Aye.
Trustee Wright.
Aye.
Student trustee Monteith.
Aye.
Okay, so both 6.7 and 6.8 are passed. And now 6.9 is a public hearing for the Police Officers Association, their initial proposal to the district. So on 6.9, we are now at a board agenda item 6.09 regarding a public hearing on the SOCCCD Police Officers Association initial proposal to the district. Before we hold the public hearing, Vice Chancellor Sydney Viscachill will provide an introduction.
Thank you, President Milchiker. The board will conduct a public hearing to provide an opportunity for the public to comment on the Police Officer Association's initial proposal to the district. If the board has any questions throughout this public hearing process, I am here to assist.
Does the board have any questions for staff to assist with their understanding of this matter?
No.
No, okay. Board item 6.09, the public hearing on the matter at hand is now open. Public comments are not to exceed 2 minutes. Are there any comments?
No, we have not received any comments.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The public hearing is now closed. Is there any further discussion on this matter by the Board of Trustees? No. Okay, item 6.09 is concluded. And this is the public hearing. We will now move on to item 6.10, adoption of the SOCCCD Police Officers Association initial proposal to the district.
So moved.
Thank you. Trustee Wright moved, and is there a second?
I second it.
And so trustee Jay seconds it. So now, Madam Secretary, can you call the roll? And this would be on item 6.10.
Trustee Inman.
Aye.
Trustee Jay.
Aye.
Trustee Jamal.
Aye.
Trustee Milchiker.
Aye.
Trustee Prendergast.
Aye.
Trustee Rydell.
Aye.
Trustee Wright.
Aye.
Student trustee Monteith.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And the next item is 6.11, the academic employee and classified administrative personnel actions. Are there any additions or corrections, Trustee Vice Chancellor Viscachill?
Changes, thank you.
Thank you. So is there a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Jay moves and trustee Wright seconds it. And I just thought I'd mention that there were some long-term employees. Elizabeth Chamber, a sociology instructor from IBC, has worked 31 years and 9 months. Sandra Sembiasa, who's the executive assistant to Vice Chancellor Anne Marie Gables, has worked here for 20 years and 5 months. Barbara Timialis, child development and education instructor, has worked at Saddleback College for 14 years and 9 months, and we thank all these people for their service to the district. Okay, can you call the roll, please, Madam Secretary?
Trustee Inman. Aye. Trustee Jay.
Aye.
Trustee Jamal.
Sorry, aye.
Trustee Milchiker.
Aye.
Trustee Prendergast.
Aye.
Trustee Rydell.
Aye.
Trustee Wright.
Aye.
Student trustee Monteith.
Aye.
And the next item is 6.12, classified personnel item, regular items. And Vice Chancellor Viscacho, are there any changes?
There are no changes to this item. Thank you.
Well, that's good to hear. Okay. And right now, there's one employee, Robert Collier, a groundskeeper who has worked for our district 30 years and 8 months. So we thank him for many years of service. Okay.
Right.
Madam Secretary, can you please call the roll?
I need a motion and a second.
Okay. Is there a motion? Carolyn Inman makes it moves. Trustee Jamal, did he second?
Sure.
Okay,
Yes.
Trustee Jamal seconds. Okay, thanks. Thanks.
Trustee Inman.
Aye.
Trustee Jay. Aye. Trustee Jamal.
Aye.
Trustee Milchiker.
Aye.
Trustee Prendergast.
Aye.
Trustee Rydell.
Aye.
Trustee Wright.
Aye.
Student trustee Monteith.
Aye.
Okay, 6.13, non-bargaining unit personnel. Are there any changes, Vice Chancellor Viscacho?
No change to this item. Thank you.
No, good. So we just need a motion and a second and we'll vote on it.
So moved.
So trustee Wright moves and who second? I couldn't tell.
I second it.
Okay, and trustee Jay seconded. Okay, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Inman.
Aye.
Trustee Jay.
Aye.
Trustee Jamal.
Aye.
Trustee Milchiker.
Aye.
Trustee Prendergast.
Aye.
Trustee Rydell.
No,
Aye.
she has to recuse. Right, trustee Rydell is recusing.
Oh, excuse me.
okay.
Yes, I have to recuse on that one.
Trustee Wright.
Oh, it's 5.4.
Aye.
And student trustee Monteith.
Aye.
Okay, and trustee Rydell had to recuse because she's a volunteer. Okay, so we'll make that clear. 6.14, Faculty Association Memorandum of Understanding for Novel Coronavirus, COVID-19. And this is for the summer, fall 2021. Do we have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Trustee Jay makes a motion and trustee Inman seconds it. Are there any comments? This is a nice understanding between the board and the faculty. Okay, Madam Secretary, can you call the roll?
Trustee Inman.
Aye.
Trustee Jay.
Aye.
Trustee Jamal.
Aye.
Trustee Milchiker.
Aye.
Trustee Prendergast.
Aye.
Trustee Rydell.
Aye.
Trustee Wright.
Aye.
Student trustee Monteith.
Aye.
Okay, and the last item before our written reports is the sabbatical leave revision. And it's going to be, she wants her sabbatical leave moved from spring to fall, so of the same year.
So
So trustee Wright moves it and who was the second?
Jay.
And trustee Jay second. So, and Madam Secretary, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Inman.
Aye.
Trustee Jay.
Aye.
Trustee Jamal.
Aye.
Trustee Milchiker.
Aye.
Trustee Prendergast.
Aye.
Trustee Rydell.
Aye.
Trustee Wright.
Aye.
Student trustee Monteith.
Aye.
Okay, great. And then 7.2 is facilities plan status report. And I want to thank everyone for putting pictures in it. I guess 4 times a year, they put the pictures of the projects in it, and this is one of the times. And then there's 7.3 CARES Act monthly funding. These are just reports. 7.14 COVID-19 response block grant summaries, 7:15 monthly financial status reports, 7:6 retiree OPEB benefits, 7:7 basic aid report, 7:8 SOCCT quarterly financial status reports. And then Vice Chancellor Gable, do you have a report to give? Vice Chancellor Gable, would you like to give a report? You can say no report if you don't want to. No report, okay.
No report tonight.
Okay, Vice Chancellor Viscachill, would you like to give a report?
I'd like to thank the Faculty Association for the COVID MOU. We appreciate them coming together with the district.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you. And then Vice Chancellor of Technology and Learning Resources, Vice Chancellor Bob Bermucci, do you have a report?
No report.
No report, okay. And then there were Chancellor, you have a written report. Do you have anything you'd like to say beyond your written report?
No, thank you very much.
Okay, and then Irvine Valley College President.
Oh, I'm sorry to do this.
Yeah.
It's really the only time I could figure out where it could come up during the Chancellor's report.
Okay.
There's obviously we're in a point in time here where we're making some transitions to greater in-person learning and more in-person gatherings. The governor has announced that after June 15th, all tiers go away, and that, as I understand it, we're open, according to the governor, and that it's up to individual districts and cities to decide, and counties to decide in what manner or shape that opening takes place. There's lots of discussion, as I think we know, about vaccination requirements, and at the same time, I know that I'm receiving, and I think other trustees are receiving input from the community, desiring for in-person learning to open up in a greater manner. And I think we all agree, whether we're in academia or not, that for those courses that should be in-person learning is best. Some courses are just as good, or if not better, online. But for those that should be in person, I think we desire to get to that point. And I guess I raised this during the Chancellor's report because I want to be sure that our communications that go out to not only to our employees, to faculty and staff and students, but to the community at large are consistent. I know it's challenging to do this and that it's evolving, but I think our last public statement was in March. And so I think as trustees, I know myself, I want to be sure that whatever I say to the community is the point in time where we think we are. So I would like to see from either the Chancellor or the college presidents, what's our plan for communicating to the public and on the issue of reopening campus, our facilities, the classrooms, and how we intend to handle vaccination requirements. Because what I don't want to see is board members communicating one thing, district communicating another, and the colleges are communicating another thing. So we need some leadership here. And I think we need consistency in what we're communicating to our constituents, taxpayers for our district, students, faculty, staff, and everyone else.
So we will be discussing this. The executive team will be discussing this tomorrow so that we do have a unified statement to put out. The schedules for the fall should be posted shortly and should relieve some of the confusion. We believe that it was possible on one of the websites, it said fall 2021, but because the fall 2021 schedule wasn't available, it still showed the fall 2020 schedule, which looked like everything was online. So we should be back at about 50% on ground and 50% online. Remember, some programs have always been or had certainly had components of them face-to-face. Certainly that has been true in health sciences and in the auto tech program. Regarding the vaccinations, the vaccinations are still only approved as experimental by the FDA, and you cannot mandate an experimental drug. So we are waiting to see if the FDA changes the vaccination approval to approve them without them being experimental. And in the notices that the UCs and the CSUs put out late last week saying that they were mandating vaccinations for students and employees, they said that that was based on the FDA changing the current status of the approval of those vaccinations. So we are currently waiting for some additional advice from the state chancellor's office. Their general counsel is looking at this. So we're not going to be prepared to move forward until we see that legal advice. And then we will communicate certainly with the trustees, because the trustees, if that's the recommendation that we make to the trustees about requiring vaccinations, that would be your decision. It would be a recommendation that we would make to you. So we will craft some language and make sure that we are communicating. And I don't know if President Stern or President Hernandez would like to add anything to that.
Well, I'll just jump in. I don't want them to comment, but I guess I hear what you're saying. I'm glad you're meeting tomorrow, and that the message of consistency between the district and the two colleges is really important. And then, of course, the involvement of the board and understanding what's being communicated. And you have to make that judgment whether we should know in advance or not. But I would think we would want to be on these issues like this, like reopening.
Right.
Sorry, I know Elliot and I cut the presidents off.
Irvine Valley College written report, Irvine Valley College President John Hernandez. Do you have anything to say in addition to your written report, or anything you'd like to add on this?
I don't have anything to add to the written report. I will say that we are planning a communication to update our campus community for the fall semester in the coming weeks, certainly before finals week, and look forward to having the discussion with CEC for a district-wide, possibly a community press release regarding fall.
Thank you. And Saddleback College, in addition to your written report, President Elliot Stern, do you have anything you'd like to say on this, or add to all three written reports were excellent, so go ahead.
Thank you, President Milchiker. The only thing I want to add is to thank former Dean Diane Pestalisi, as well as Trustee Rydell for volunteering, as well as physicians, nurses, and other healthcare practitioners that volunteered for our vaccination center to vaccinate our employees. We're very grateful for that, and it was a really fun event. We did update our communication on the webpage. We keep that up to date whenever we make a change in the schedule. Mind you, the decisions that we can make, Trustee Jamal, at the college level are about the scheduling. And ultimately, we get together with the chancellor to help inform her decisions about the status of the emergency order in the campuses. But we have kept the community at large very much aware of our fall schedule plans for the last 6 to 8 weeks. And those remain at about 50-50 with no change in the plan. And the schedule has now been updated to show the available classes at this time for fall.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Can I ask? I understand.
Yeah, Trustee Rydell.
Yes, I understand the schedule was made a while ago and that we're still planning to go with it. But as the reports come out in the favor of that meeting some type of herd immunity, in that we don't have the outbreaks in California as we did before, is it possible that we can change to 60-40?
So the problem with all of that is that the schedules, students will start enrolling in May. And in order to have the time to plan the schedule and enter it all into the database, we start that planning back in January or February. And we want them to start enrolling now before they leave for the summer. So the longest lead time of any schedule planning is always from your spring of one year to your fall of the next year. So when the decisions were being made, they were being made when the conditions in the pandemic were different. So, and it's hard at this point to pull all of that back and add additional sections online, because once the schedule goes live and students start enrolling in it, we have to stick with what we've committed to. So it would be very difficult at this point to make those kinds of changes, because you've made a commitment to the students and to the public on how you're offering the schedule.
Chancellor, actually, I was thinking the opposite, 60% in person and 40% online.
Right, I understood that was what you meant.
I understood it too.
Well, I also know that in 1 week, we took all of our courses and put them online, which was very difficult. And I don't know, could it be difficult to take 10% more, because maybe we could have 10% more students who want to come back to school. We can't negate that. We have students who don't want to do online, period. We have some that have adapted, and I'm happy for them. But those that, in the letters that, and the people that we hear from, I don't hear from, I don't, it's not that I don't. I've heard more people have negative comments about online, and it's not necessarily just Saddleback IVC. It's because it's online, it's not in person. And if it's possible, because we have 5 more days, 10 more days to do this, if we can, I think we will add enrollment to our campuses.
And I think President Stern has his hand up.
So very quickly, Trustee Rydell, we are prepared to be nimble as enrollment opens up. Many of the classes that are online have been scheduled with times and days for synchronous online sessions. We do have enough nimbleness to be able to move those to on ground if the demand for on ground proves that much greater than the demand for online. That is, those synchronous classes could be moved on ground because the schedules would be the same. We don't have a lot of room to do that, but it gives us the capacity to move a little bit if enrollment tells us that we've guessed wrong.
That's good to hear.
But okay, I appreciate that very much, but how do you know that you guessed wrong if you don't do it?
Because the demand at registration tells us if we have high demand for online classes and low enrollment for the on-ground classes, that would tell us that we might need to move some of our online classes on ground.
So you're saying you'll move it later?
As registration opens up, that's correct.
Okay.
I see. If there's a huge demand for online classes, then you could perhaps open up more face-to-face classes at that point. If there's a big demand for it. Well, that's good to know.
Madam President, was our motion to extend to 10 o'clock or 10:30? I don't know.
It's 10 o'clock.
So
we have a minute.
We have 1 minute. What do you think? I think we could finish this in 1 minute, right? I just want you to know that the board meetings used to go to 2, 3 in the morning. So this is nothing, a long time ago.
Bill was on the board.
So are we finished? That we could have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Trustee Jay makes a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
You don't need a second to adjourn.
Okay, so are there any other comments? Thank you all for staying till 10 o'clock. We really appreciate it. And good night, everyone. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.